interest specialist on RPH football, the local football specialist. The crowd are going berserk. You Dogs, Tigers, there's calls galore. And the umpire holds the ball aloft. The big yellow cake of soap. Up it goes now. It was Scholar running into the player Cranston. There's been a free kick awarded here down the field to the northern end. It's going to be a free kick immediately right in the goal square for holding. And it's going to be Dolding, DB. It looks like he's going to be lining up pretty well from directly in front.
Well, obviously plenty going on down there, boys. I was looking at the other end, to be honest with you, because Danny Shell was running around with Paul Sherwood hot on his hammer, but it's definitely a free kick, and it's going to Mark Ruwalt, number 17 for the Bays. What a start this is, guys, as he lines up and drills it straight through the middle. So first flood to the Tigers, and gee whiz, 38 seconds gone on the Grand Central time clock, and I don't think Roy Lead would be too happy with that, giving away a free kick down in front of goal. So great start to the Tigers.
Yeah, amazing stuff here. You rarely see that, the free kick right out of the middle of the bounce and right down to the goal square, as we said. Mark Ruwalt making no mistake. So the Tigers off to a brilliant start in this crucial game at Hammer Holmes. What is a real battle for the third spot, and Port Adelaide, of course, very strongly involved in that as well after their big win today against Sturgis. Back in the middle, Schooler against Cranston. No clear winner. The ball does come out. That was back volley gave to Gibbs. Hurried kick from Gibbs out towards right half forward, bouncing open space. Out of side of the Ponderosa. Smith was there, jostled off it well though by his Hill District opponent. And now it's Cochrane from left half back to left half forward with a bouncy sort of ball. Two players overrun it at the back. Chris Gowans traps it well, gets a handball back towards his teammate there in McCabe, who kicks inside 50, bouncing ball. Shell couldn't take it. Glenelg defence come, and they run away from defensive 50, Paul Blander.
And they did it well, beautifully through the player there in Austin, the big lad at centre wing grandstand side. It's been smashed forward. Where can he run onto it? It's a 50-50 contest. It favours the Bays now. Gee, Smith taken too high, was it? The umpire said no. He's about had his neck ripped off. The crowd called for holding the ball. It now comes to Mitchell. He's in the centre of Hammer Holmes Oval. There's a blue on it, centre wing. DB will give us an update. It's gone inside 50 for the Bays. Oh, it bounces over the top. The player running onto it for the Glenelg side. He couldn't quite get a boot on it. It's now been spilt free to the player there. But Glenelg, it's stepped around the corner. And number 44, Yeomans, has put it through the Bays. 2 goals, 12, 2 minutes, 15 seconds gone, DB. The Bays have opened like a horse at a gate.
Yeah, was it Yeomans or Benny Moore that kicked the goal?
No, it was Yeomans.
It was Yeomans at number 44.
Well, gee whiz, we saw a little incident back here with Big Smith. He was in a wrestle with Paul Thomas, but meanwhile the ball just sailed down towards the forward line. Bays had the opportunity initially. It came out the back, and Yeomans around the body. A great goal, and that's the second on the board to the Tigers, and the Doggies yet to score.
2.5 gone first term thanks to Grand Central. 2 straight the Bays on the Marble Bar scoreboard, as DB said. The Dogs yet to score. Comes down from the Scholar, hit out. McConnell tried to go off the ground, but it's Central who are going to come charging through. Little give from one of the Gowans to McCabe. He goes back, and he's got a teammate running with the ball in Ware. He kicks up towards the forward 50 arc, barreled through Shell and Sherwood. At the back, picking up there, O'Sullivan taking the ground. Wasn't a high tackle. Some of the Central players thought it was. The ump comes in and says, I'll bounce it.
You're spot on, Johnny. It was a high tackle. The arm went over the shoulder of O'Sullivan, but the umpire ignored it, and now he's bouncing it.
At 45 from the Central goal, come down from the Mackenzie tap to Slade. He was slung around the tackle, had to throw the handball out in the end. Well trapped by the Bay veteran Moore. He's away and running, has a bounce through the middle of Hammer Holmes, kicks towards 50. Up though, taking a good defensive mark was Richard Cochrane, and he can repel things for Dogs at defensive 50.
He does that and finds Ware centre wing grandstand side. Great crowd in attendance here at Hammer Holmes Oval. The kick by Ware is fantastic, and finds that player in Andrew Hayes, number 22 for the Dogs. He turns around now and goes inside 50. It's in the forward pocket, but going back and taking a good mark was Benny Mules, the captain, number 34 for the Bays. Socks down, he goes by hand to Mitchell. He's got the socks up, number 22. He's in the goal square. They've transferred play, Glenelg. The kick by Mitchell, as you'd come to expect, goes a very long way indeed. And leading in the race was the Central's player in Swatala, I think it might have been, but Backwell did it beautifully. But he's kicked the ball out of bounds on the full, and it will be a relieving free kick from Central's on the outer side, and that will be James Gowns. And it's very hard to pick up unless you can see their number, and I know because it's number 28, and that's James Gown, and he will go deep into attack for Central's from centre wing, or at least he'll kick to the 50. One would have thought, John McAville.
He goes short and finds Hayes at left half forward. Looked like he was going to go long for quite some time. In the end, did chip to young Hayes. One of the young Bulldog breed coming through this season after the replacement, or replacing the 4 or 5 players who have retired. Bit of aerial ping-pong, comes off hands to Ware, knocked forward cleverly by McCabe, and goes in again. Snaps towards the goals as the former Hawthorn player, and his kick on that occasion across the face, out of bounds in the right forward pocket. It's the Bays 2 straight, Central yet to score.
Yeah, great play there by Elijah Ware. That was a PDK highlight coming off the half-forward flank, straight through the ball, and unfortunately his teammate couldn't finish it off.
Ball back into play. Mackenzie in front position, knocks it down, hoping for a runner. He's got one in O'Sullivan. Crumbs it well, put it across the boot, check side towards the goal. And as you can probably guess by the roar, the Dogs have their first on the Marble Bar scoreboard. They go to 1 straight 6, courtesy of that snazzy little goal from Chad O'Sullivan. Glenelg 2 straight 12, and thanks to Grand Central, we've played 5 minutes in this first term.
Yeah, look, he just ran straight onto the footy from that boundary throw-in. Thought he was going to use the left boot, but as you heard Johnny Nankerville call, he threw it on the right boot with the check side, and it swiveled back off the boot, straight through the high diddle-diddle. So the Doggies really did need that goal after the Tigers had kicked the first 2 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. It's the Tigers 2 straight goals, the Doggies 1.
There's the ball up in the centre. It was Cranston getting it down and ended up with the player in Moore, went backwards and ends up now with Gibbs, the hand pass to Glenelg. They did that well. The kick by Gibbs wasn't great. It's been trapped by the player in Swatala. He did that well. He's given by hand to Richard Cochrane. He gives by hand to the running player in Sibonala, and he does it well, and they're going towards half forward. But coming from behind was a Glenelg player taking a very good mark. Just can't pick up who that is at the moment. It's number 6 for the Bays, and that, of course, is Luke Pinozzo. He's done it well. The quick kick has found the player for Glenelg on centre wing, outer side. Goes to half forward. Gee, a very good contested mark has been taken by the Bays. And that's Kirkby. He goes deep inside 50. Flying from behind was Zoldig, also another Glenelg player, and it will be a free kick to the Bays, Dennis Brown, and that will be a free kick to, I can't pick up who
I think it is, mate. Smith.
Jet Smith, Dennis Brown, from not very far out indeed.
Yeah, look, the Doggy defenders just caught under the ball on that occasion. They had to turn around and go with the flight, and of course Smith had his eyes on the footy. The Doggy body coming at him, and the umpire deemed that he was infringed in attempting to take the mark. So Big Smith now will line up from about 15 to 20 metres out directly in front. Shouldn't have any problems here. Only the accuracy, of course, but he comes in, goes bang, the kick's on its way, stabbed at the ball, and I think he snuck it in. He has for the 3rd goal on the board to the Tigers. They go to 3 goals, 18. The Doggies 1 straight goal, 6 on the Marble Bar scoreboard, and we've played 7 minutes on the Grand Central time clock.
Well, the Bays getting the answer back to that goal there from O'Sullivan for Central after Glenelg would come out firing with the first 2 goals, the first of which was a free from the centre bounce, basically, which found its way down to the goal square with Mark Ruwalt. Since then, a couple more goals. Tigers 3 straight, Central 1 straight. It's a 2-goal margin to the Bays, 7.5 gone thanks to Grand Central in this first term. We see O'Sullivan matched up on Backwell in the middle, and in the ruck, Cranston flies against Schooler. Schooler won it down. Chris Gowan tried to trap it, couldn't do so. O'Sullivan threw out the handball. In the end, it ends up with Schooler, who gives to Swatala, who's at centre-half back. He kicks up towards half-forward. High ball leading in the race there. But seeing it bounce over his head was Slade. Pinozzo trapped it well. Handballs onto the wing and finds one of the Bays' goal scorers in David Yeomans. He kicks to half-forward, barrels through Smith, and coming away now, Wilson. Like a gridiron player, just pushing players out the way with his big, strong body. But the handball from Thomas, who got it from Wilson, set O'Sullivan up with a real task. Has to have a scholar come in and try and help him, trying to knock it out. But in the end, the Bays, just weight of numbers, about 4-2, get it forward through Backwell, but his kick marked on defensive 50 by Cochrane, and the Bays can rebound from defence.
He crosses play now, and that's with the player in Graham. He goes wider still and finds Chris Gowans just on the defensive side of centre wing, outer side for the Doggies. They're going to the southern end of Elizabeth Oval, and that's, of course, where the Hammer Holmes Oval, and that's where Grand Central is, the southern end, and it goes now, and the player there is Westhoff. That's of the J variety. He goes deep inside 50. The bounce didn't favour Centrals really at all, but it ends up favouring the Shell after it came off a shin of a Bay player. Goes to Ware. Ware goes short and finds McCabe. And McCabe now, he's going to have a shot that went about probably 10 3/4 metres. McCabe, he's looking, he's not confident about the distance. He's got a loose player in the forward pocket, and that is one of the Gowans boys who's taken a mark. Bad checking by the Bays, Dennis Brown.
Well, it was because Swatala ran inside the 50, and I think it was Benny Mules had to pick him up, otherwise the kick would have gone there. And of course, what he did do was leave his teammate, leave his immediate opponent, and that was Jimmy Gowans, and that's the way the footy's gone into the pocket. So Jimmy Gowans, normally a pretty reliable kick for goal. He's in what we deem Campbell's pocket here in South Australia, anything in the right full forward pocket. See what he can do. We've got a pretty good view of it here. He'll come in with a drop punt. The kick's on its way. Look at that. Allowed for the breeze. It went right through the high diddle. Second goal on the board for the Doggies. They're 2 straight goals, 12. The Tigers are 3 goals, 18 on the Marble Bar scoreboard, and 9 minutes gone, almost 10 minutes on the Grand Central time clock.
And it's a great game of football so far. No side has missed as yet. 5 goals on the board, and it's on for young and old,
and
really.
The PDK highlight about this game thus far has been the disposal has been crisp and clean, and that was the reason the Doggies kicked that goal. They brought it from half back and body without hardly the bays touching the footy.
Yes.
It's a real shootout at the Ponderosa. As one down the middle again by Scholar. Only just trying to bust his way through was the last goal scorer, James Gowans. He's taken to ground, though, and there'll be a secondary ball up right in the middle of Hammer Holmes Oval, which has, as we said, a nice, healthy crowd who have come in to see this almost, in some ways, a mini-final type game in August. There's one down by Cranston, only as far as O'Sullivan. He's away. Has a couple of bounces on this grandstand side wing and kicks to 50. Mules. Courage. PDK highlight. Call it what you will. It was great stuff. The Bay skipper just standing up against 2 central players and taking the mark. And he chips it over to one of the recruits of the year in McConnell in the right back pocket. His kick's not great. Hinge on the outer side there. Had to charge towards it to keep it in the end. The ball got extra legs and beat him out of bounds at left half forward for the Dogs, about 60 from their goal.
You're very kind there, John. The kick was a Smithfield crash clanger indeed, DB.
Certainly was, yeah. Napoli brothers would have been cheering for that.
They would have been. There's the boundary line throw-in. Scholar ended up getting it down and ends up with the player in McCabe. He dances this way and he goes that way and kicks inside 50, and the mark has been taken by Matthew Slade probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of the favourites for the McGarry medal. After Jake Clayton's performance today, he may not have enough votes to get close to Dennis Brown, and he'll unload probably from about 50. He'll have to kick. The angle is slight.
He'll kick from just inside the 50. Can kick a long ball, Matty Slade. Oh, he got very close to the man on the mark. The kick's on its way, and consequently, because he got close to the man on the mark, boys, he just had to hook it a little bit to the left-hand side. So the first minor score of the game recorded, 2-1-13, the Doggies. They trail the Tigers 3 straight goals, 18 on the Marble Bar scoreboard, 11 minutes gone on the Grand Central time clock, first quarter.
Okay, so Mitchell will bring it in for the Bays. He's got a loose option now, and he goes that way and finds the player there, McConnell. Oh, he's taken a mark. He didn't even realise. He thought it was going to bounce over his head. He's inside defensive 50, and he rebounds now, and he's got a player in the centre, and it was looking for more, but it's now picked up by the player there in Sivanala.
A free kick in back. It was Sivanala charging for, but the free kick's going to come back to Gibbs for the Bays, who was obviously interfered in that contest.
Thought he was a bit lucky to get that one, boys.
Well, he kicks the ball towards half forward, where McConnell's run down and popped in 60 from goal and taken the mark. He's played on, came towards the commentary box, then goes back onto his right boot. From centre half forward, just chips it up. Gibbs had to sit and wait. Justin Westhoff, strong body, spoiled him, and now good use of the hand sees the Dogs away through O'Sullivan. Thomas, clever tap on, found Hayes, who lost his footing and lost the ball. Comes the way of McConnell for the base. Had to gather in the bobbling, slippery football. Did so just to Ruwald. He bombs it inside 50. The pack form. Score at the front. Had a couple of touches. Couldn't take it. Cranston roving at the bottom. Threw the handball out in the backward direction. He goes to ground 45 from goals. Tackled well. Allowed in the arms of Wilson, who chips the half back. And the Dogs are away through Matty Slade.
So Slade has a bounce with the left hand. Is he going to have another one? No, he goes with the right boot now, and he's got a leading player, Shell, a long way from home. That's a great lead. He's probably about 90 metres out from the southern goal, which is where Grand Central is going off as we speak. And not as many people in there now as what there was before. Daniel Shell just standing there going, what's going on in Grand Central? But Shell is going to unload and go long inside 50. It does that now. Hinge fly from behind. McCabe did it beautifully. Gave to Westhoff of the Justin variety. Gave by hand to the player there in O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan at the top of the goal square. Has a pot shot and missed, but the build-up Dennis Brown was very good indeed.
Was in the pressure by the Bay defender there, just enough on O'Sullivan. He had to back turn out of trouble. The hurried left foot just to the left-hand side, but tell you what, this game's a cracker, Jack. And you Big Johnny, you mentioned about the slippery ball, and a little bit of dew out there, and I don't think it's going to get any better as the night progresses.
As Mitchell with the football in the goal square for Glenelg, chips out towards the right back pocket and finds a teammate in Sherwood, one of the great defenders of the SRNFL in the past 10 years. He goes further afield, finds the Bay skipper in Mules, kicks towards that outer side wing. Players losing their footing out there. Ball hits the turf. Graham leads in the race against Sibanala. In the end, they both set out of bounds. Outer side wing here at Hammer Holmes Oval on the Marble Bar scoreboard. It's the Bay's 3 straight, Central 2-2-14. And thanks to Grand Central, we've been going 14 minutes in this first term, should I say, as Central come away with the ball from that bounce down. It's a quick kick up towards the half-forward line. Leading out there, taking a good mark, is Justin Westhoff, who's been a great player for the Dogs in his debut season. Kicks inside 50, Shell caught behind. Little touch of the back perhaps, but he took the mark and the umpires paid it. And he'll go back, DB, from about 35 out straight in front and can put the Dogs in front.
Yeah, look, you called it superbly, Johnny. A couple of hands, just pushed his opponent out. The umpire was right there. Could have paid it either way, 50-50. Allowed the mark, and he's going to line up, as you said, directly in front, and will kick from about 47, make that 48 metres. The drop punt's on its way. The goal umpire to the right-hand side. So the Doggies, all of a sudden, after two straight Aussies rolled, they've kicked three behind to go to 2-3-15 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. The Tigers, three straight goals, 18. And 15 minutes gone on the Grand Central time clock. You're on RPH Footy with Paul Blandis.
Angus Security's second instalment of SNAFL football on this weekend. Mitchell, he's going to the outer side. Did he go over the line? Yes, he did. The umpire has adjudicated that he went too far, Mitchell. I was looking through the glasses and it looked very much line ball. It wasn't. In fact, it was a no ball, Dennis Brown.
Well, certainly, yeah, well called. The arm went out from the umpire, but of course the whistle blew. That was the main thing.
Okay, so there's a ball up right in the goal square. The Dogs have got a big chance here. It's McKenzie. Oh, he does it well. It's a one-man band. McKenzie, can he kick it through? He does now. He kicks it over. McKenzie, no. In fact, it's come back out. McCabe flew for the mark. Wouldn't have gone far enough anyway. McConnell, he's taken it over the boundary line and probably a bit nervous about kicking across goal this week. Justin McConnell, one would have thought. The boundary line thrown in the southeastern corner of southwestern corner, John Mankiewicz, of Hammer Holmes Oval.
It is indeed. As bursting through there for the Bays on that occasion was Hinge. His handball wasn't the greatest. Trapped there with the central player and James Gowans, but he's earned himself a free kick there, DB.
Well, he was definitely grabbed high, no doubt about that, and the umpire was right there to see it. Handballs off to Elijah Ware, and his kick into the body of Ty Allen. Consequently, the change in the ball goes towards the forward pocket, and it'll be picked up there by the Doggies, but there's Tigers everywhere, boys.
There are indeed. The Tigers really, you spoke about it earlier, Dennis, the pressure in defence the Glenelg side are showing, and you saw it with McKenzie. The big man tried to bust through the pack and almost did it on a couple of occasions, but was just shut down by Glenelg's pressure. As up high in the right, Cranston left it though in midair, and McKenzie grabbed it to O'Sullivan. He was dispossessed by some of that pressure we're talking about, and it gives a chance for the Bays with some quick hands. Cranston,
that's high.
Now surely Ruwald's been grabbed high. The umpire says no.
Yeah, the umpire was on the wrong side to see that. Anyone this side would have seen it clearly above the shoulder, but of course the other umpire was standing on the other side of the contest.
Bounce of the ball, still about 30 out from the central goal. They're still threatening. Hinge took it, was tackled well, got a little handball out, didn't find it. A teammate, Cranston, had to come bustling through. He'd lost it in the tackle too. Hinge in there, tough stuff from both sides, body on body, man on man, really good hard SNFL football, and there'll be a bounce about 40 metres out straight in front from the Central's goal. They trail by 4 points.
Yeah, look, it's interesting with the umpires. I mean, at the moment, when that incident happened, they were actually parallel with each other. You would think of a player, one umpire's on the other side, the second umpire closest to the contest would be more to this side to see that other angle.
Exactly. There's the bounce about 35 metres out from the Central's goals. It's McKenzie running onto it, and a player's been grabbed. Has he been grabbed too high? No, he hasn't. So the umpire will come in, and it is gone probably about 5 or 6 metres towards the southern end. And a Glenelg player getting up off the turf, and that looks like Ty Allen, number 14. No, I beg your pardon, it's Luke Panozzo, number 6. Looks very similar to Ty Allen. There's the secondary bounce, if you like. Cranston playing well at this point in time. It's run onto by Slade. He played for the free kick, but he got it, and it's too high. So it's Slade will have another shot for goal. His first one wasn't joyous because it missed to the far side of the southern end, which is the Grand Central end, of course. This one is slightly closer, Dennis Brown, and pretty well directly in front.
Yes, exactly right. What's happening here? The umpire is...
No, it's been taken away, all right.
Didn't see what happened there, got no idea, but Jimmy Gowans is waving his arms around.
And in fact, he's tried to punch his brother. He did. He punched him in the chest, so the Gowans brothers are not happy. So Matthew Slade very diplomatically gives it back to Panozzo. So we're a little bit confused, or perplexed is probably the word of the day. And Panozzo, he rebounds from 50 with that kick and finds David Mitchell at right half back on the members' side of Hammer Holmes Oval. He goes to centre half back. The player in Allen fell over. He almost does it again. Looks like he's trying to do the tango. It ends up being kicked off the turf. Thomas with his number 16. Also Sherwood was a kicking in danger against Central's no. Mitchell takes it inside defensive 50. It is deliberately out of bounds. It won't be paid. The Gowans brothers are going berserk. You're an RPH football with Dennis Brown and then John Mankiewicz.
Yeah, there's a few things happening out here that's too quick for me, but the umpires luckily are right on the ball, and just at the minute, there's a little bit of aggro out there, boys.
Scholar in front, won it down. Slade waiting where all small men should be, but unfortunately Cranston crashed into him and made a real contest. Hayes dives over the football. Handball came out. Allen had it. Was robbed from him by the player who's tackled now in Chris Gowans, who's going to get a free kick for a high contact there against Ben Moore. And Chris Gowans' hair slightly longer tonight than James's, so that will be a bit of a giveaway for us up here in the commentary box. Gowans went short to McCabe. McCabe went looking for Shell. Ball went over his head.
Well
McConnell blind turns a couple of times. Handball's off to a teammate who gives to him. She's in the left back pocket. The Bays seem to have time as they go to half back. The kick almost cut off there by Westhoff. Good second opportunity, couldn't take it then. Coming through Big Austin, gets a handball out, hoping to find a teammate, but it's all the Dogs. And picking it up at right half forward grandstand side is Slade. So his kick isn't a great one. And shifting into defence and taking the mark for the Bays is Pinozzo.
Pinozzo off he goes. He's going to switch play now. Good evening to the Napoli brothers, because that was a Smithfield crash going inside 50 to the Dogs. And marking in front of Shell is Justin McConnell. He won't want to kick it back across goal. That was almost what happened last week at the Bay. He'll be reliving that, no doubt, as the life unfolds. And McConnell, in fact, he does cross play now. He's obviously got over it as well. Anyway, he finds Mules in the other back pocket. That, of course, is the southwestern back pocket. Kicks it to centre wing, and there's Freddie Hinge in front of the player there in Mackenzie. And he did pretty well, Freddie Hinge. It was a good contest, a good 50-50 contest, Dennis Brown. A PDK highlight for both sides.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Some Smithfield crash clangers in there, but just at the minute, the pressure right on, courtesy of Black and White taxis across the border. A goal each to Richmond and the Tigers.
Okay, the Richmond and Essendon that game, of course. So there's the boundary line train. Running onto it is Thomas. He went to go this way and then went that way back to Richard Cochran. The hand pass, in fact, went through a number of doggies. Getting it with Scholar. The hand pass to Thomas is very good, and the doggies go inside 50.
They do indeed. Thomas's kick will land about 45. Shell was up high. Ball hits the ground. Quick little give there from Austin. Pinozzo got it. Goes back to Austin. They're being besieged in the back pocket. And Austin under pressure kicks it out of bounds on the full in the right forward pocket for the Dogs. Tucked away in that pocket, the free kick will be taken by Daniel Shell. In fact, no, it's going to be Mackenzie, I think, and the big fella doesn't even try to have a shot. He sets it up from 50 towards the hot spot. Westhoff there, knocked away from him. Central have the Crummers. The Gowans boys combine. Jimmy to Chris, and Chris through the middle. So Central hit the front after much pushing and cajoling. They finally hit the front in this first term. They go to 3-3-21, pardon me. The Bays to 3 straight 18. That's on the Marble Bar scoreboard. And we've, thanks to Grand Central, almost gone 22 minutes in this first term.
Yeah, look, that was a Smithfield crash clanger by the Bay defence. 2 of them up to contest the ball that came down. Ended up with Chris Gowans around the body. He made no mistake off the left boot. And across the border, we've got Sydney Swans 1 behind, trailing the Lions 1-1.
Okay, thanks to Black and White Trucks and Removals. Here's the ball up in the centre. It's Kirk. Fresh onto the ground thanks to Stillwell Ford at Medini. Backwell, he's being wrapped up. Those fluorescent boots got him out of trouble. Bryce Gibbs broke away. The loose ball will find Ben Moore, centre wing out of sight. He's got a looping hand pass player in Allen. He's wrapped up by Swatala. He did well. Good contest by both players. It spills free. And it's been picked up there by Big Griffin. He goes by hand to Central's player in Graham, I think it may have been. He kicks it towards, going towards half forward. Matthew Slade trying to get it off the ground. He goes backwards now and ends up with McCabe. He went to ground for some reason, inexplicable anyway. The Bays have got it now. Ben Moore is going centre wing out of sight. He's going forward towards the northern end. Getting involved is Richard Cochran. Hit it beautifully. Goes by hand to Swatala, who goes by hand to the long jumper Quinton Graham with number 38. He's in the centre of Hammer Holmes Oval, and they go forward. The doggies. Freddie Hinge was all over the player in Mackenzie. Where was the umpire? Goodness knows. It ends up with Freddie Hinge. I call him Freddie Hinge because he's got number 19 on, and he goes forward for the Bays.
Ball at half forward now for Glenelg. Knocked down by Cochran, but grabbed by Graham for the Bays. Gives to Ruwald, who from 55 goes to the one-on-one contest. Smith couldn't mark it, but he can throw it at the back and grab it and kick his second goal. Great second effort from the big man, Jeff Smith, and he puts the Bays back in front. They go to 4 straight 24. Central 3-3-21 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. Thanks to Grand Central, we've gone 23.5 in this first term.
Yeah, look, a little bit lucky there. The Tigers definitely pushing the back here to Big Mackenzie against Hinge. The umpire was right there to see it. I can't understand why he didn't pay the push, because it was definitely there, and consequently the Tigers took it away and kicked a sausage roll.
Well, the Bays getting back in the lead, as we mentioned, and they're looking at perhaps slightly the better side in this first term. They've repelled a lot of Central attacks. When they have gone inside 50, they've been a little bit cleaner in terms of kicking goals. As the bounce, not a good one, should be recalled, and is completely favoured Kirk on that occasion. And I think it's good to see the umpires recalling the bounces, and especially in that kind of situation, close game, early stages, a bounce like that when it favours one side could be crucial, at least in this passage of play. As it is, Kirk does some rucking and roving in the restart. Kicks towards centre half forward. Taking on the bounce there was Kirkby. Goes inside 50. Barrels past Ruwalt. Picked up by Graham. He's away. Looking for the handball. Almost handball and clung onto it the last second. Goes for the kick to defence 50, where Griffin has to sit and wait. He takes it though now, and the Dogs are away through the big man to half back.
They are indeed. I think it's James Gowns out there, centre wing out of sight in front of a pretty healthy crowd here at Elizabeth Oval. He goes forward. Westhoff, Jace built the mark. Wilson A picks it up. The kick inside 50 with the left boot. Is it going to be marked by a Central's player? No, because Sherwood was involved there. He's the only one that seemed to have kept his feet. He ended up with McConnell, who went by hand to Benny Mills, and he's got a loose player in Jeff Smith. He's already got 2 first-quarter goals. He's playing pretty well indeed. Defensive side of centre wing. Goes to centre half forward. Thomas ends up taking the mark. He ran about 10 metres. First grab 1 metre. Second grab 10 metres. Ends up with Wilson. He goes forward. He's got a player out there. Looks like Slade, I think it may have been. In fact, it wasn't him, but it's gone inside 50. It's Slade who ends up kicking the goal, and the Doggies, Dennis Brown, are back in front here at Hammer Holmes Oval.
Yeah, turnover costly there for the Tigers. Big Smith had the ball. He bombed it to half forward, but beautifully read by Paul Thomas. He was able to take it on the second grab, and his kick to the outer side was pinpoint, a real PDK highlight too, and then Wilson finished it off to Slade. And as you said, boys, it's a topsy-turvy game here, seesawing, and the Doggies back in front on the Marble Bar scoreboard.
And thanks to Grant Central, we've gone 25.5 in this first term. When you think about the players Central have lost, and one player is still with them from that premiership group is Matthew Sladen. Wonderful player that he was during those premierships. I reckon he's got another leg. He's just been superb for the Dogs this year. As big Jonathan Griffin won it down in the ruck and did some roving. Got his kick away just in time, I feel. Out towards the outer side wing where Swatala can pick it up and chip with the left boot up towards 50. McKenzie there, Hinge with him, giving away a lot of height and a lot of size, but he spoiled on that occasion. Chris Gowan slipped back towards McCabe, who goes inside 50. Shell was up, fisted away from that player. Ball hits the ground. All base players. McConnell gave a handball to a teammate in Mitchell, who was under pressure. He's opposite number 22. Hayes putting some big bodies in. Handball comes out in the McKenzie direction. Now Mitchell for the base. Taps it away desperately. James Gowan's diving in there trying to trap it. The Bay's throwing in though, showing that pressure, but Slade breaks away. Handballs over the top to O'Sullivan. He goes at the goal and has been touched off the boot. It looked like it had gone right through the middle, but I saw the goal umpire feverishly slapping the hands together. So the Dogs get their force behind. They go to 4-4-28. Glenelg 4 straight 24. We've played nearly 27 minutes thanks to Grand Central.
Okay, the kick out from Panozzo was pretty ordinary indeed. Ended up with McKenzie. He's gone inside 50. A mark's been taken by Shell, and it was a very good grab indeed. Coming from behind was Sherwood. That's no mean feat to mark when you've got opposition like that. And Daniel Shell, well, the angle's probably 45 degrees, Dennis Brown. The distance will be about 40 metres when it leaves the boot.
Yeah, look, no problem with the distance, just the accuracy. The worry here, but again, a poor kick out on that occasion. Went straight to big bucket to McKenzie, and of course it's ended up with Shell, who now kicks as we speak. The kick's on its way. The goal umpire to his right. In fact, the minor score is it again. We'll wait on him. No, they get through. It's a sausage roll to the Doggies. They extend their lead first to Shell. They go to 5 goals, 4-34 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. They lead the Tigers 4 straight goals, 24. We played 27 minutes on the Grand Central time clock.
So what a great affair it has been so far. 5 goals to Central's, 4 to Glenelg. It's been exactly what we were hoping for, a shootout at the Ponderosa, the Hammer Holmes Oval. A crowd that probably, guys, I would have thought that's approaching 3,000, maybe 3,500. It's fantastic indeed, and it looks a picture under lights, does Hammer Holmes Oval. Here's the ball up in the centre. There's Kirk, there's Gibbs, there's Backwell in the centre, Slade, Griffin, and also the Gowans boys in there. On that occasion was won by Gibbs, and the centre clearance on this occasion goes to the Bay.
Does indeed. Up towards half forward. Big Smith in front, doing quite well below his knees to keep the ball in front of him. He's almost wrapped up by Sivanella, but well done, Big Smith. Unfortunately, he ran straight into Elijah Ware. The great score, second and third effort. On the fourth effort, though, he ran into Elijah, who wrapped him up with a beautiful tackle, and he'll take the free at right half back for Central, right on the boundary line grandstand side. Not a lot of options for Elijah. His side leading by 4 points at the moment. He goes long up the line, hoping to get towards half 40. Does distance-wise, no one there. Fisted down. Here come the Crummers, though. Swatala, like grease lightning from 65, puts the Dogs inside 50, knocked down by the base. Surely taken high was Sherwood, and the umpire comes in and says, yes, the grand old man of the Bay's defence will take the free kick in the left back pocket.
No doubt about that. It was almost the hanging judge with Clint Eastwood. That was. He almost took his head off.
Oh, the good, the bad and the Forest out here at Elizabeth Oval, and he's in the southwestern pocket, not far away from Grand Central. The kick comes to centre wing, grandstand side. It's been taken by Kirk. As you heard Dennis Brown say, it was a PDK highlight. Played on Kirk. What's going to happen here? The mark's going to be taken by Ruwald. Well, he took the mark, but it wasn't paid because it was touched off the boot. The kick will now go forward, and the mark has been taken by Matthew Graham. He goes by hand, and he's got a running player there in Bradley Yeomans. Yeomans can go deep inside 50 for the Bays. He does that indeed. Kirkbury from behind. Has he taken the mark? No, he hasn't. McConnell with the long sleeve dives on the footy, and the siren's gone now at Hammer Holmes Oval. That quarter, thanks to Grand Central, went 29 minutes and 50 seconds when the siren went. Central's 5-4-34. The Bays are 4 straight 24. Margin there on the Marble Bar scoreboard of 10 points. Dennis Brown, goal scorers for quarter time.
Yeah, and what is a great game of footy out here under lights at the Hammer Holmes Oval. The Dogs inside 3-2, trailing Richmond 4 straight goals. And at the Telstra Dome, Sydney 2-2, leading the lines 1-1.
Okay, there's the ball up in the centre. It was Scholar getting the better of that from Cranston. Getting the kick quick out the centre was O'Sullivan. It goes to centre half forward to the Doggies. A free kick will be paid to Centrals, and it will be a free kick just on centre half forward. And I've got a feeling that player is McCabe. Yes, it is. What is he going to do now? He stutters a little bit. He thought he had a lead on. He doesn't. And he now goes deep inside forward 50. He's looking for a mark from behind. Gee, Shell flew high, but running onto it is a player in Centrals. Beating him to it was Panozzo, and he takes it out of bounds. Does he? No, he doesn't. He did it beautifully there. Panozzo, he gained a few valuable metres for the Tigers, and it is now in the northwestern pocket of Hammer Holmes Oval. We've gone 45 seconds thanks to Grand Central, and the margin on the Marble Bar scoreboard is 10 points.
Back into play, the ball comes in that forward pocket for the Dogs. Trapped well for the Bays by Rogers. Handball was a bit hot, though, for Panozzo on the last line of defence. Does well, though, gets it back in the 1-2 from Cranston. Then his secondary handball towards Gibbs wasn't great, put the young man under pressure, and the umpire comes in and says there'll be a bounce.
No, I think it's a free kick, boys. They're going to the Bays way in the back pocket. Didn't see what it was for, but it's definitely a free kick.
Well, the Bays have the football. Interesting, it seems to be with Ben Mules down there in the right back pocket. Bryce Gibbs, pardon me. Bryce Gibbs out towards half back with a pack forms. Hayes, PDK highlight. Wonderful mark by the young man for the Central District side. He plays on, puts them back in. You know, it's a Smithfield crash clanger. The kick as it's been marked down there on the last line of defence for the Bays by Rogers.
Yeah, didn't look, did he? Just blazed into the forward line.
So Rogers, off he goes. He rebounds from 50 with that kick and finds Smith, probably, well, arguably the best player for Glenelg at this point in time. And his opponent is standing on the 50. The kick went about 6.5 metres, finds the running Sherwood. The Forest, he goes now wide, and the kick was good, and finds a player right there. I think that may be Matthew Graham, and yes, it is. He marks centre wing outer side of Hammer Holmes Oval, going forward indeed, and finding a player there. Looks like Benny Mules running from half-back. It was Benny Mules, the captain of the Bays. He's got a player upfield, and that is John Hinge. So Adelaide listed John Hinge. He takes the mark, plays on immediately, and finds the leading Rory Kirkby. So they're doing it in... I guess staccato fashion, I guess, if you like, the Bays. They're just kicking it forward. They're doing it measured, and they're doing it well. And right in front of the Smithfield crash repairs sign, if you don't mind, Dennis Brown. Kirkby now goes long inside 50, and gee, that's a good mark by Richard Cochran at left half back for the Doggies, and rebounds the pressure and relieves the pressure, I beg your pardon, and finds the player there for Centrals in Justin Westhoff, who goes wide. Swatala it was, getting involved. Ruwald, gee, did it well. That's a PDK highlight for him. 2-3 Dogs onto one. It ends up with Matthew Slade, who'll rebound and find Thomas just outside half back.
Thomas couldn't handle the wobbly Slade kick, but good second option there, or effort, should I say, by the 2004 McGarry medalist. His kick up towards the wing, fisted down by Shell. Chris Gowans went to ground, almost taken high, got a handball out. Chet Salatar, and he was taken to ground nicely there by Allen. The players piling on the football. The umpire says, I'll bounce it. I think it's two of the Central fans will like the free kick there for Daniel Shell, but it's not to be, as Ty Allen comes up off the bottom of that back. A tough competitor he is, and he's added a bit of toughness in this early stage of the second term to Glenelg's midfielders. James Gowans comes through, tackled well by Backwell, and again the umpire comes in and says, I'll bounce it down. Grandstein inside centre wing here at Hammer Holmes. We've gone 3 minutes thanks to Grand Central, and thanks to Marble Bar. It's Central 5-4-34. the Bays 4 straight 24. As the bounce, the ball tight on the boundary, Central pick it up, and they can go forward towards half forward with O'Sullivan.
So in they go, looking forward. Man being pulled off the ball was a Glenelg player, possibly does. Oh, Slade runs onto it inside 50. What can he do? He's going to have a pot shot at the goal, but it's not going to go through for a score. It's going to go out of bounds on the full, is it, or not? No, I don't think it is. It's just bounced inside, Dennis Brown.
Yeah, no, Smithfield crash clanger there in more ways than one. He had Elijah Ware loose, virtually just wide of centre-half forward, elected to have a bomb at the goals, and could have easily been a sausage if it had palmed off to Elijah Ware.
So the northeastern pocket where the action is in front of the Grand Central time clock that has 4 minutes and 10 seconds on it ends up with the player in O'Sullivan who has a pot shot at goal. What's going to happen here? It's going to hit the poster. It's coming back, and it will be a free kick to the Bays in the northeastern pocket there in front of the Marble Bar scoreboard, which reads 10 points the margin to the Central District side, and that player is Luke Panozzo. In fact, is it Luke Panozzo? Yes, I think it is. So he's directing traffic now, Panozzo. What a breakthrough season for him this year in regards to consistency. He kicks it and rebounds from 50. Scholar got in the way of the leading Jeff Smith and will go out of bounds almost at centre wing outer side for the both sides, really, because it probably favours Centrals at this moment. Grand Central 4 3/4 minutes. Grand Central time clock 4 3/4 minutes. That's like a repeat. Marble Bar scoreboard, 10 points to Centrals.
As the ball comes back into play, right half forward there for the Central side. Comes out in the direction of McCabe. He chips the half forward where he finds probably left half forward Swatala. He kicks up inside 50. Shell there. And he's going to get a free kick for a holding against Sherwood. He's probably about 35 out, 45 degree angle. Sherwood not over the moon, DB, but it doesn't matter because the umpire's made his decision, and Shell will go back and shoot for his second and the Dogs' sixth.
Yeah, look, it's always hard, and you got the forward leading and the defender trying to stop him. I mean, sometimes it's 50-50, and on that occasion the umpire ruled in favour of Danny Shell. Could have easily said play on, but certainly Shell a great opportunity to kick the first goal of the second quarter. We're right behind it here. The ball's on its way. Will it drift across, or will it no hit the post? So another behind on the board to the Doggies. They certainly had their opportunities. 5 goals, 5:35 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. The Tigers, great kicking by contrast. 4 straight goals, 24. We've played almost 6 minutes on the Grand Central time clock in the second quarter.
As the Dogs bring the ball out towards half-back defence, 50, Cranston won it and fisted it down, but only as far as the Dogs. James Gowans goes back inside 53-1. The Bay player up in front. Rogers dropped the mark. He should have taken, but recovered well. Got a handball out, and the Bays are away now through Austin towards this grandstand side wing at the back there. Sivanala pulled down a good mark. A big, furious sort of contest there. 4 players all flying. Sivanala waiting at the back, took the grab. Kicks out towards half forward. Up in front, taking a good mark was Big McKenzie. Right on centre half forward for the Central side. He chips up to about 60 from goal, where Wilson takes the mark. He could almost go from here. He runs to 50, kicks towards the sticks, but it drifts away to the right and through for one behind. 6.5 gone thanks to Grand Central in this second term. It's the Dogs. 5-6-36, the Bays 4 straight 24 on the Marble Bar scoreboard.
Again, plenty of time there, Wilson. The kick, he hooked it. And as I say, they've certainly had their opportunities, Central, but not capitalising on those opportunities at the minute.
So Panozzo kicks out from full back for Glenelg. He rebounds from 50 with that kick. He comes to grandstand side. Being wrapped up in the tackle is a Gowans, and that's being pushed forward. Mark Austin, number 52 for the Bays, only 17 years old, so infringing there. Chris Gowans goes inside 50. The kick was good. O'Sullivan let the ball go. Running onto it is the player in Panozzo. He did that well, and as he does that, the Bays rebound from 50. Benny Moore's got it, 29 years of age, and he's playing like a youngster. He goes by Andy Yeomans, who just escapes a clutching paw from one of the Doggies. Ends up with the player there for Glenelg in Ruwalt. Goes back to Yeomans. Yeomans deep inside 50. McConnell, what can he do? Oh, it's a free kick's been paid to
the Doggies.
The Doggies. Number 48, the Chicken Vindaloo Curry relieves the pressure and finds Wilson. As he takes the mark, he will rebound from 50 with a kick and finds Swatala. It was well done, measured beautifully. Swatala plays on immediately. He's got Thomas, the acting captain, who goes forward. He finds the player there in Gowans of the C variety. He will go inside 50 for the Doggies. The kick is perfect. Westhoff of the J variety couldn't take it. The free kick's been paid, Dennis Brown. I don't know about that. Very, very soft.
Well, he played the push in the back, but, I mean, again, up the other end of the ground went the Doggies' way, 50-50, and on this occasion it favoured the defender. So just at the minute, perhaps the break's going the Doggies' way, but, of course, if you play in front, it does help, and that was certainly the case with Justin Westhoff, and he's lining up for goal. Almost the exact same spot that we saw Danny Shell hit the post from. Perhaps learned that the Breeds would just take it slightly to the right-hand goal post, see what he does. and he didn't learn by that, and he's kicked it through for a behind. So that's poor footy really, boys, because if you're watching teammates kick for goal and you watch the ball, the habit of the ball, he didn't even allow for that little breeze, to swing it to the right-hand side.
Bonozzo brings the ball back into play, chips short and finds Gibbs in the right back pocket for the Bays. He's been impressive today, as he has been all season for Glenelg. Hard to believe he's only 17 years old. He's got such a mature head on his shoulders. He goes short and finds Yeomans. He's about 40 from defensive goal for the Bays. Kicked a goal for him in that first term. His kick on that occasion, not a good one. Put Graham under pressure. Goes back to Bonozzo, who goes in the 1-2 to Graham, who goes searching further to Yeomans. Had about 5 touches the Bays, and only just getting to defensive 50 now as Yeomans finds Moore, who from right half back kicks towards the grandstand side wing. Up high Hayes, couldn't take it. Chris Gowan's there putting the pressure on. Backwell on the bottom of that pack in his fluorescent boots, and the umpire comes in and says, I'll bounce it between grandstand side centre wing and left half forward for the Dogs. And Backwell just having a bit of a fun time there with Chris Gowans, appealing for a free kick that was never going to happen. The umpire throws it up in the air. Shell took it out the ruck, fired out the handball. The umpire's put out a high tackle, a high free kick, going the way of the Dogs. Shell goes crashing into the Glenelg player in Backwell. He'll take the free kick though, Shell, on this grandstand side centre wing. Kicks it up towards half forward where Thomas has run on from the Dogs. He marks from a step, kicks inside 50. McKenzie caught behind the big man, knocked it down, but only as far as the Bays Ruwalt. He goes back towards the defensive goal square where he's got Bonozzo, who can get the Bays out of trouble with a kick towards left half back.
Okay, taking the mark will be Sherwood. He marks on the outer side in that northeastern pocket. He goes looking for centre wing outer side. In fact, the attacking side, Smith getting involved with Simonala. He did that well, running onto it. Kirkby, he can handball. He can find John Hinge. No, he can't. Yes, he can. No, he can't. Ruwalt's getting involved. Wilson wraps him up in the tackle, and it will be a ball up pretty well centre wing outer side. Pretty good result all round. Just forward, or just north, if you like, of the Smithfield crash repair sign. Larry Frank and Eddie Napoli, great supporters of SNFL football and RPH footy. There's the ball up. It ends up being tapped down to Mules. He's got a leading target here, and running onto it will be Kirkby. Gee, he picked it up beautifully, did the big man Kirkby. He's got a loose player inside 50, which Dolding wasn't really loose. Is a player being taken too high for Centrals? No, it's not. There's Sachs on the mill. What's the umpire going to do? He's going to ball it up there. Dennis Brown, was that a good decision from the umpire?
Well, it looked like he was grabbed too high, but the umpire was right there and adjudicated that he wasn't, and consequently going to bounce it only about 25 metres from the Tiger goal.
So there's the ball up. Scholar it was. Slade running onto it. He was wrapped up in the tackle. It's been picked up by Yeomans to snap around the corner. Dolding, what can he do? He can't do anything just at the moment because the attention from Quinton Graham was very good. Thomas sees the ball out of bounds at the southern end. Of course, that is where the Grand Central function centre is, and of course the other end is where the Grand Central time clock is. 11.5 minutes gone in the second term. Marble Bar scoreboard, 13 points the margin, John Nankerville.
There's one down in the ruck there by Schooler, straight to Slade. He charged off with the ball before deciding to go back with a handball to Sibanala, who in turn finds Graham to Richard Cochran, messing around with it slightly now. Curry will kick out towards half back. Players fly off hands. Where are the Crummers? Surprising enough, it's Big Schooler with the crumbs. He went to ground, allowed the Bays backward to pick up from 45 and kick a wonderful PDK highlight goal. Brett Backwell said he hasn't done a lot tonight, and that's true, but when you can just pick it up like that, DB, and put it through, it doesn't matter because it's a wonderful goal, and the Bays get their fifth. They're 5 straight 30. Central's 5-7-37. Thanks to Grand Central, we've gone 12 minutes in this second term.
Yeah, look, that was a great goal, as you called it, Johnny, a PDK highlight. He didn't have a lot of time to put it on the boot, but gee whiz, it went off the boot beautifully, straight through the middle. And to see, we've had Central controlling the game in the early stages of the second quarter. They've had 12 scoring shots, the Doggies. The Tigers have only had 5, and yet they only lead by 7 points. They've wasted opportunities.
Back in the middle, Central have a chance to bring it out. They do through Swatala towards half forward, bouncing football. Where it is now outer side, half forward, kicks up towards the forward 50 arc. McKenzie knocked it down. Rogers right with him. He'll see it out. Right forward pocket for Central underneath the Grand Central time clock, which says we've gone nearly 13 minutes. And thanks to Marble Bar, Central's 5-7 to the Bays 5 straight.
Great bit of work there by McCabe when that ball came out of the centre and towards the half-forward flank. He just stopped and propped in front of his opponent and allowed the ball to run out to Ware, who then fired it inside the 50.
Okay, so it's right in front of the Grand Central time clock and the Marble Bar score, but it will be a free kick to the Bays. And it's going back there to Trevor Cranston, who goes backwards by hand to Yeomans. That wasn't a good option. It had Hinge under a bit of pressure, but it'll be Cranston relieving the pressure and rebounding from 50 for the Bays. Only so far as Scholar, though, and it's, just outside half forward for the Doggies. And running onto it, a lot of players. There'll be a free kick holding the ball. is being paid against the Bay player there in Bryce Gibbs. No, it's not. It's Rory Kirkby. It goes to Adrian Wilson. He's going to bomb it long inside 50, does Adrian Wilson. He's got a leading player in Shell. He's got a player also in Chris Gowns, almost took the mark. Shell ran onto it. He's been wrapped up in the tackle. It is with Bonozzo now. It ends up now getting a quick hand pass out and rebounding from 50 the Bays, and it goes to Moore. The kick will find Doldig, centre wing, grandstand side, just inside the centre square. Matty Doldig, probably one of his first early touches for the night. And after kicking 7 goals last week in a good performance, former junior footballer for Glenelg has had a knee reconstruction as a junior. He goes forward now, and the leading Kirkby takes a very good mark. PDK highlight, Darryl O'Brien in the crowd. You'll be happy with that PDK highlight, and they want to be your business coaches, PDK highlights. You're in RPH Football, 11:97 a.m. Dennis Brown, Paul Blanderson, John Nankiville. Kirkby goes backwards and finds Ruwalt. Ruwalt goes inside 50. Coming from behind was a player there for Centrals and spoiling it. He ends up with a Glenelg player. It looked like Cranston it might have been. There's a quick handball forward. What's going on? There's going to be players everywhere. It should be a ball up. One would have thought a player taken high, possibly. The umpire says nothing doing. He was a lot closer than us, and it's about 45 metres out from the Glenelg goal. They're going to the southern end of Hammer Holmes Oval.
Pretty tight and tough in the clinches to the bounce of the ball. Inside 50 for the Bays. One down by Glenelg, but it's Ware who picks it up, and he's away with that Spring Hill Jack pace. His kick wasn't great, smothered, rolled out towards Kirkby, about 65 from goal. He puts it to about 35 from goal, where it's Scholar fisting the ball down. The Bays get a handball out, a good one, found Yeomans, who in turn goes to Hinge, who sets sail from 45. It's a wayward kick to the pocket. Backwell there, bounced over his head. Dalton tried to be clever and get it back to Backwell. He did, but Backwell was out of bounds, and there'll be a throw in that left forward pocket for Glenelg. They trail by 7 points here at Grand Central. On the Grand Central time clock, we've gone 15 minutes in this second term.
Okay, so there's the ball in Slade, getting it just inside the boundary line, goes to the chicken, Vindaloo and Curry. Curry tries to go over the top of a Glenelg player, doesn't get that far, but it ends up with James Gowns. He's tackled over the line by Smith. Is it a push in the back? No, it's not. James Gowns seems to think that perhaps it should have been, but it's not, and it's just outside 50 for the Bays. It is in the south-eastern pocket of Hammer Holmes Oval. The boundary umpire now throws it in, and he does that well. Getting in front was Cranston. He got it down to the player there, I think, was Ben Moore or Yeomans, one of the two. He kicks it inside 50. Doldy got his opponent out the way. What can he do? He can run onto it. No, it's a rush behind to Glenelg. And 15 minutes gone in this second quarter, Dennis Brown. Only 1 goal on the board. It is pressure football.
Certainly is, and just a lack of bit of pace there from Doldig allowed Cochrane to get in front of him when if he'd have balanced himself up, he could have run into an open goal.
So it's ended up with Westhoff L on the outside wing, and that is the outer side wing, I beg your pardon, and it's been picked up by the player there in Rogers. He goes backwards. He's looking for a player, and Panozzo found him, but he got to the touch of the fumbles, didn't know what to do with it. He caught holding the ball. The umpire says no, play on. Central's players everywhere. Can they get it out? No, they can't. It's a bit of a stacks on the mill. What's going to happen here? The umpire will come in, and it'll be a ball up. Probably a fortunate result, one would have thought, from the Bays, and it's about 70 metres out from the Central's goals, who are going to the northern end of Hammer Holmes Oval, John.
Umpire puts it down. In the ruck, it's going to be Mackenzie versus Cranston there. Handball comes out for the Dogs, which is a good one. Found Thomas over about 80 metres. Kicks to about 35 out. Shell in between two. Flew high. Offhands coming through Westhoff. Puts it on the boot. Dribbles it towards the goal. And a PDK highlight by Justin Westhoff in the right forward pocket. Not a player we're used to showing off his crumbing skills, but on that occasion he was fantastic. He puts through the Dogs 6. They go to 6 goals, 7-43. Glenelg 5-1-31. That's on the Marble Bar scoreboard. And thanks to Grand Central, we've gone 17 minutes in this second quarter.
Yeah, look, it's taken the Doggies 17 minutes to kick their first goal in this quarter. They've had it down there plenty of times, but they haven't been able to capitalise. And I'll tell you what Danny Shell is doing. He's contesting, and every time he goes for the ball, there's a couple of Tigers going against him, and there's a free kick in the centre going to Scholar. Too many in the square, I think, as far as the Tigers are concerned.
Scholar goes to centre half forward where James Gowans has found pace. He gets to 55, kicks towards the goals. Good kick distance-wise and taking a good grab at the top of the goal square. The man with the bucket hands, Mackenzie, on the 10-yard goal square, taking the mark right at the top. He'll go back from point-blank range, and as we tick towards the 18-minute mark of this second term, Dennis, he should put that Central lead out to 18 points.
Yeah, look, that was a costly mistake by the Tigers because Big Buckets, he's, as you said, Johnny, point-blank range. Certainly proving an asset, isn't he, for the doggies up forward. He's being shifted there by Roy Laird a couple of games ago at 10.5 forward. He played a blinder, and he just put it straight through the high diddle-diddle. So two very important goals. Took them 17 minutes to kick their first, and you wouldn't want to know it, a minute later they've kicked their second in the quarter, so they've stretched that lead out. And on the Grand Central time clock, we've played, obviously, 18 minutes.
Yes, and look, an interesting lead to the Central District side. And the Bays, Central certainly playing a bit of football at the moment. The Bays just can't seem to match it with them. The margin is only 3 goals, but just one with, would think, 14 scoring shots at the moment, thanks to 6 in favour of the Bays. That's on the Marble Bar scoreboard, that Centrals are dominating this affair, and the Bays don't want to let it get out of control. The forward forays from Glenelg aren't doing anything at the moment. Doldig not getting much football at all. Rory Kirby taking marks, but he's taking them too far out of the 50-metre arc. There's the ball up now in the centre, and Cranston's got it. He got it down to, there's a Bay player on the ground there. He can't get the handball out. Chris Gowan's getting involved as well. The umpire will come, and it's just gone slightly north of the centre circle here at Hammer Holmes Oval. It's looking in pretty good condition indeed. And thanks to Stillwell Ford at Medindi, Griffin getting ready to come on to the ground at the moment. So Hinge running with McKay, but there's the ball up. Cranston it was, getting it down to a Bay player, getting it forward. Couldn't quite pick up who that was, and a mark's been taken. It was a very good mark indeed by a Central District's player there. And that player there is Curry, I think.
Cochrane.
Cochrane it is. So the left foot boot. Thank you, Dennis Brown.
That's a great kick.
It is a great kick. PDK highlight indeed, and has found the player there in Gowan C. He goes forward now, looking for a player up there in Westhoff. And that's at the J variety. Was he being held? No, said the umpire. I think Austin thought it might have been a free kick. He's trying to get it onto Ty Allen. Austin, he's trying to work hard, and he's doing a good second effort as well. Going in hard was Backwell. Was it too high? The umpire said no. James Gowan's just having a chat to Mark Austin. Don't know if he's entirely happy about all that. And it will be a ball up pretty well centre wing, grandstand side. Grand Central time clock, 20 minutes gone in the second term. The margin is 18 points in favour of the Dogs. And then it's been picked up by Allen. He handballs it now to Backwell. He's wrapped up in the tackle, ends up with O'Sullivan, who kicks it forward.
Clever.
And he's gained almost 40 metres, one would have thought, with that kick. And seeing the ball out of bounds was Austin. It'll be thrown in the northwestern pocket of Hammer Holmes Oval here on RPH Football with Dennis Brown and then John Mankerville.
Yeah, that was a great bit of work by O'Sullivan. He grabbed the ball and he went to kick it, and there were about 3 Bays standing in front of him, and somehow he thought, well, I'll just kick it between legs here, and that's exactly what he did to make up that ground.
It's a great example of kicking to touch, I think, in Australian rules football. The Bays got the ball half back and through Yeomans. They went to the grandstand side, wing off hands. Hinge got it, was tackled, but not before he got a handball out in the direction of Smith to Ruwalt, who goes to half forward. Graham does a good job there on Big Doldig, and the ball out of bounds about 65 round from Glenelg's goal. They trail by 18 points. We're just into time on in this second term as the umpire brings it back into play. 60 from Glenelg goal. 1 down there by Big Griffin. Moore trying to trap it for Glenelg. He couldn't do so. James Gowan's right with him. Moore again and again. The Glenelg veteran desperately trying to keep it in, but couldn't do so. They're going to look a tiny bit closer to goal. They're about 52 metres out. But again, we'll see the boundary umpire throw it back into play. The Bays would love a goal. 18 points they trail by after being right in this contest. They just need to go just to bring it back to a couple more on that occasion. Quick hands to Backwell. PDK highlight goal number 2 for Backwell in tonight's broadcast. Moore with the quick hands from the throw-in, and Backwell just where all good small men should be, waiting for the receive, and ran in from that right forward pocket and chipped it right through the middle. The Bays bring it back to 2 straight goals. They go to 6-1-37, Central 7-7-49. We've gone 21, almost 22 minutes, thanks to Grand Central.
Yeah, look, what a great goal that was from Backwell. He didn't have a lot to aim at there, just a very small margin, but he certainly split the centre, and he's suddenly come into the game in this second quarter after being a little bit quiet in the first quarter. Over the border at the MCG, Richmond have opened up a break there, 8-2 to Essendon 3-2. The Telstra Dome, Sydney 4-2, leading the Lions 3-1, both games early in the second quarter.
So there's the ball up in the centre. Getting smothered on the kick was Swatala, but picking up was James Gowans. He goes backwards and finds Sivanala, and he on the outer wing finds O'Sullivan, who goes by hand and finds the player. I think it's Matthew Slade who goes deep inside 50 with the kick. Oh, the leading player was Shell, but taking the mark beautifully was Chris Gowans. Dennis Brown will go back and shouldn't make any mistake, directly in front. The kick should come from 40 metres.
Oh, that was a PDK highlight, wasn't it, from Slade? A magnificent kick. And as you saw, as you heard Paul Blander say, Chris Gowans was in the right spot, took the mark, And he's lining up. He'll kick from, by the time he kicks it, about 45 metres. It's away to the right-hand side, or is it? No, it's a minor score again. So again, wasting opportunities, the doggies. 7 goals, 850 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. They lead the Tigers 6-1-27. 23 minutes gone on the Grand Central time clock. And those earlier scores, of course, brought to us by Black and White Trucks and Removal.
So it'll be Panozzo going to the outer side from the northern end for the Bays. Grand Central time clock 23 minutes. He rebounds from 50 with that kick. Glenelg player ran right under the footy. Kirkett was getting involved but couldn't grab the footy. It comes out now to a player in Griffin. It ends up now with a player in O'Sullivan. 1 goal, 2 to his name. He's outside 50 now. Goes long inside 50. The player in the van was James Gowns. The punt from Hinge was pretty good. Running onto it was a player there in Allen for Glenelg. Wrapped up in the tackle was Yeomans. There's Central's players everywhere. The pressure inside 50 is intense. And it will be a ball up just inside 50, right in front of the Marble Bar scoreboard, which sees Central 7-8-50. The Bays are 6-1-37. You're on RPH football with Dennis Brown and then John Nankerville.
Yeah, good point you make there, Paul. The tackling by both sides has been absolutely outstanding, and both sides trying to get their game going, but they haven't been allowed to thus far.
As coming out of it through defence there for the Bays was Rogers. Tried to get a handball out, lost it, goes in with the second effort. He's wrapped up, though, by Elijah, where Bulldog stuff took him to ground. There'll be a bounce about 40 metres out, straight in front of Central's goal. We've just ticked into the 24th minute here at Hammer Holmes, and as we said, Central leading by 13 points, 7-8 to the Bays, 6-1. As the umpire puts it down in the ruck, it's Kirk versus Mackenzie. Kirk won it down, went past Austin and was picked up by the opportunist in Lee Westhoff. His kick wasn't great, though. Stopped by Rogers, whose kick wasn't fantastic either, just a desperate hoik to clear the zone. He did that and gets it out of bounds about 65 from the Central goal, and the boundary umpire will come in and throw that ball back into play right out in front of the, right underneath, should I say, the Grand Central and time clock and the Marble Bar scoreboard.
Yeah, another Smithfield crash clanger there, wasn't it, from Lee Westhoff? Another opportunity gone Beggy.
Yeah, so there's the boundary line thrown. As it came in, Kirk, it actually went forward into Central's forward 50. It's going to end up with the player there in Wilson, I thought it may have been, but it ends up back with Westhoff of the El variety. He has a pot shot to the top of the square. Shirley's taken the mark, but the free kick will be paid to Sherwood, and probably justice has been done with that decision, because there's been a couple of ticky touchwood ones, and Sherwood, it appeared from here that he was being held. And anyway, he's got the kick, so it doesn't matter what we think. He's got the kick and he rebounds from defensive 50 and finds Rogers, who certainly have an impact since he's come on, Dennis Brown.
Another 50-50 decision. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, so Austin, the 17-year-old, takes the mark, centre wing grandstand side, goes by hand to Bryce Gibbs, who's got an option out there in the captain, and that's the captain, Kirk. The Starship Enterprise now goes long inside 50, looking for Doldie, coming from the side, Kirkby. Could he take the mark? No. Gee, picking it up was a Glenelg player, did pretty well. It's going to spill free to Doldie. He takes the mark now, he tries to get it onto the boot, but it'll be the Central District side coming away. And that player was Richard Cochran. No, it wasn't. It was Mussolino. He gave it along to one of the Gowns boys, but it will be a ball up in the forward pocket at the southern end.
Yeah, look, it was a Smithfield crash clanger, the handball from Mussolino, because he put it at the feet of his teammate, and he had to bend down, and just that split second that he bent down, the Tigers were on him.
And that was James Gowns, of course. There's Griffin and also Smith going up at that ball-up contest. It will be another ball-up now, John Nankerville, and it is in the south-western pocket of the Ponderosa. The Grand Central end will be going off later on.
The Bays would love a goal just before half-time to put themselves right back into this tight contest. Central taking the ball there and being slung to the ground with Curry. Glenelg player dives in over the football. The umpire comes in and says, we'll bounce it down again. It was Ruwalt, the player getting off the bottom of the pack. Played in Glenelg's reserves runner-up side last year, been pretty much a regular player in the seniors this year. Central player in O'Sullivan seemed to be scragged off the ball, but the umpire says, nothing doing, I'll come in and bounce it. Still in that right forward pocket for the Bays, about 20 metres out from their goal. He throws it up instead, the umpire, and Smith hoiks it back, but only to a sea of Central players. Curry, if that's not deliberate, I'm not here. The umpire says, well, it isn't deliberate, so I mustn't be. And there'll be a throw-in on the forward 50 arc. But Curry, I mean, he tried slightly to disguise it, but it seemed pretty obvious. He just booted straight towards the boundary line, and a very hard-working boundary umpire down in front of us will bring it back into play as Sibonala in the front position in the ruck, but at the back it was Griffin who won it down. Players working hard on the bottom. Handball came out to O'Sullivan. He shrugged off Hinge and gave to McCabe, who goes back towards Thomas. From defensive, probably about 30 metres out from defensive goal, he comes to right half back, and here comes Mussolino. He's got a ton of pace and a lot of space to run in. He kicks up towards right half forward, out in front. They're having it knocked away from him with Mackenzie. The big man goes in again, now off the ground. One-on-one there. It's going to be Ware and Panozzo seeing it out of bounds about 65 round from the Dogs' goal. On the Marble Bar scoreboard, they lead by 13 points. Thanks to Grand Central, we've gone 27.5 in this second term.
Gee, Muzzolino's got some pace. We saw that pretty evident then, and he just left his opponent for dead. And that's the reason why the ball is now on the half-forward flank for the Doggies.
There's the boundary line thrown. It was Kirk getting in front of Mackenzie. It ended up with the player now in Allen as they rebound from 50. The base goes to the running Austin, the 17-year-old. He's done well. Number 52, the kick, lacked a little bit of finesse, but Kirkby should get there first. Griffin and Mussolino also involved. What can happen now? A quick kick forward by the Bays player in Ruwalt, but running onto it, Thomas G. did that well. Gee, the hand pass wasn't too good. Ends up with the player there in Graham. Kirkby is taken across the line, and it will be a free kick, though, to Graham because he was taken too high, and he will kick from centre wing on the outer side. And you're on RPH football thanks to Angus Securities on this Saturday night. And, of course, this is the last game of SNFL football in August 2006. So there you go, history-making event right as we speak. So Graham, it is that goes forward now, and he's got a leading player in Smith. The kick was good, and Smith marked in front of that player in Sibanola. So they're approaching centre-half forward, the Bays, or approaching the half-forward flank. They do that now. The kick from Smith was good. Allen flying from behind. That's not his forte, indeed. Picked up by James Gowns. I beg your pardon. It was Chris Gowns, and he was taken too high. And the player there, Ruwalt, infringing. So Chris Gowns will switch play, and that's towards the members' side, and it's marked by Switala inside defensive 50. He rebounds with the kick as he does that, and finds O'Sullivan, who gets round the player there in Kirkby. Did it too easily. Has a bounce now, O'Sullivan, as he approaches centre wing grandstand side. He goes long with a kick. Oh, pushing his opponent out, one would have thought, was the player there in Bryce Gibbs. The umpire said no, so he must have done it well to avoid that. And he goes backwards, Gibbs, and finds the player in Kirk, who rebounds from 50, and the kick is good, and finds Moore, who marks in front of that player, O'Sullivan, and he's at half-back left for the Bays, and that is in the north-western pocket of Hammer Holmes Oval. Grand Central says we've gone almost 30 minutes of the second quarter.
Moore kicks up the line, grandstand side, so with a pack there on this grandstand side centre wing, fisted down out of bounds right in front of the interchange benches. And interesting to see Big John O'Griffin having a run in the ruck, wearing number 1 for Central District. Got the white boots on and the long sleeves. He's going to be up against Kurt in this duel. Kurt got a little hand on it, but it was all the Dogs in front, but coming through from the side and taking the ball was Allen. Central fans want holding the ball. The umpire says no. He comes in and says, I'll throw it up. Grandstand side here at Hammer Holmes. Attacking side of centre for Glenelg. Kirk won it down. Again, Allen takes it. Again, he's wrapped up. Again, he can't get the handball out. This time, though, he's saved by the half-time sign. And at half-time here at Hammer Holmes, it's the home side who hold a 13-point break at the major change. It's Central 7-8-50, Glenelg 6-1-37. That first term went about, or second term went about 30.5 minutes. So it's a tight ball game, 13 points the margin at the major break, but certainly game on for this third term, you would think, Dennis Brown.
Certainly the case, Johnny. And when I say look after you, I mean silver service, mate. Just tremendous food and great to tickle me pinks.
Indeed. And PDK highlights coming up galore in this second half as the siren has gone. The third quarter is underway. The premiership quarter on RPH football, thanks to Angus Securities. And here we go. It's been picked up. Gee, Chris Gowns, I thought he was taken high. James Gowns, I beg your pardon, that was. Our player there has been taken holding the ball, and that recipient of the free kick was Scholar. Oh. He gave it off to Ware. Gee, the kick was really good, and found McCabe, who's marked just inside the centre square, attacking side of the Doggies. They're going to the southern end. Gee, the kick was fantastic. The lead from Shell was magnificent, and Shell has marked, well, he will kick from probably 45 metres directly in front, and the time clock, thanks to Grand Central, only gone 30 seconds, Dennis Brown.
Exactly right, and great tackle by Big Scholar. That was a PDK highlight. That enabled the Doggies to get first use of the footy, and just some great footy coming into their forward line. The lead from Shell was a beauty, and all he's got to do is kick the goal, and that'll be a perfect start to the Doggies' third quarter, and that's exactly what he's done. That's his second goal. The Doggies away to a flyer in the third quarter. They go to 8 goals, 8-56 on the Marble Bar scoreboard, and the Tigers 6-1-37.
Well, the best possible start for the Dogs in this third term, the worst possible start from the Bays, as Paul Brown has said, 30 seconds into this third term, and Shell takes the mark and goes back and makes no mistake. The first multiple goal scorer for the Dogs tonight, Daniel Shell. As back in the middle, we see Cranston versus School. As the umpire throwing it up, Cranston got his hand to the football. First Bay player was wrapped up, then robbed of the football by James Gowans. He was tackled by Backwell, and well done, Brett Backwell, because Gowans was away if he got the handball, but Backwell wrapping him up.
Man.
So his handball's been an ordinary one, but Newell's the skipper, goes back, picks it up at right half back and chips towards the outer side wing, where Hinge takes the mark. He goes into the middle of the Ponderosa, and he finds Backwell in those fluorescent boots. He comes out wide to left half back, and Aaron Rodgers takes the mark. He's away and running. Kicks towards the forward 50 arc. Out in front, Kirkby couldn't take it, was spoiled. Came down towards Slade, who crumbs well for the Dogs. Gets around towards the outside, the grandstand side with his kick, fisted away from Mackenzie by Austin. And then there's a great second chance to pick the football up and kick it towards centre half forward. But it's a Smithfield crash clanger because it lands right in the arms of James Gowans, who goes towards McCabe in the middle of the ground. He measures the pass out towards Lee Westhoff, who's about 65 from goal. He was bundled off it, but it allowed O'Sullivan for the Dogs to pick it up and come through. Took a bounce, nearly lost it, but got it back. Dummies around one, takes another bounce. Set sail from 35. PDK highlight stuff for his second goal, Chad O'Sullivan. And the Dogs, thanks to the Grand Central time clock, 3 minutes into the third term, or 2.5 into the third term, the Dogs on the Marble Bar scoreboard go to 9 goals, 8-62. Glenelg still on their half-time score of 6-1-37.
Well, the old saying, a champion team will always beat a team of champions, but that was a magnificent individual performance by Chad O'Sullivan. He ran from the half-forward flank. He almost lost possession of the ball. Then he gained it, ran inside the 50, and he made no mistake. So 2 goals to open the third quarter in 3 minutes on the Grand Central time clock.
Game high score on the game high lead on the Marble Bar scoreboard, 25 points the margin to the Doggies. And there's the ball up in the centre, so 5 goals to get the Bays back into it. There's pushing it back to Centrals. Yeah, it's a good decision. It was there to see. And the player there, Matthew Slade, certainly been a good player tonight. So Slade, he's got a loose player on. Gee, running onto it is Fatala. He's got a man in support. Gee, the hand pass was too slick for the player, Hayes. Oh, he did it beautifully, Hayes. Oh, magnificent performance. It's Burdett on the ground, number 18. He's tackled well. The pressure from the Doggies is great. Oh, Elijah Ware's got a loose man out there in McCabe. He's going to get to the ball on the bounce in front of the door hinge. And Johnny Hinge there can't do anything as McCabe whizzes around on the left boot. There's a contest out there. It's a 50-50. It's a free kick there to the Central District side. And it will be, it's a Gowans. Boy, I know that much. I just don't know which one it is at the moment.
Yeah, it looked like it was definitely hung on to there, Paul.
Okay, so one of the Gowans goes inside. Chris, thank you. John goes inside 50. Austin couldn't take the mark in front. Picking it up was Westhoff of the Albright. He's tackled. It took a while. Mackenzie picks it up in front of the goal square and puts it through for the Doggies. They're on fire here, the Doggies. A PDK highlight to start this entire third term. The Doggies have put on their third, and they have suddenly stormed away to 10-8-68. And the Bays are 6-1-37. They're still at half-time, the Bays. And Mackenzie's now got his second. Dennis Brown, this is the worst possible start for the Tigers.
Well, no doubt about that. But just numbers at the ball on that occasion. Inside their 50, the Dogs just swarmed forward like a pack of animals. Well, they are, of course, Dogs. And, that was just great footy then by Big Buckets Mackenzie, who certainly proving a real ace up in that forward line.
As back in the middle, Cranston won it down for the Bays. Coming through, picking up, getting the kick away was the skipper in Mules towards half forward. Put a trap it there, Backwell. Then his Central District opponent, Cochrane, to the ground. Goes back in, Backwell picks up, 60 out, measures the kick beautifully. And streaming out from the full forward zone and taking the mark is Mitchell for the Bays. He's probably about 45 out, 45-degree angle, Dennis. But as we know, he has one heck of a kick on him. And he would need to have one heck of an accurate kick to put the Bays back in this contest.
Yeah, this is a very important goal, isn't it? Because the Doggies have come out running and the Tigers chasing at the moment. He's got to kick this goal. He must kick it. It's away to the right, and it's, I think he might have got it, or it's a touch. No, it's a minor score. I don't think he made the distance, did he?
No, he didn't.
That was a huge surprise. He got a kick on him like a wounded bull, but that time it didn't make the distance.
As the kick out from Central finds Swatala at defensive 50, wants to play on and does now. Kick towards half back, might come off. Curry takes on the bounce, and under pressure loses it. In the end goes for the safety of the line. McConnell was the Bay player out there applying the pressure. There'll be a throw in right half forward for the Bays. They trail by a margin of 30 points.
Yeah, couldn't control it that time, Curry. Found it was too hot to handle.
There's the throw-in. It was Scholar getting to it and picked up by Swatala. Gee, that's got to be deliberate, one would have thought, but I guess he was going forward, so a pretty good result there for the Doggies. and it's almost at centre wing on the outer side. Angus Security's second instalment of SNFL football this afternoon. What a great sponsor they've been. Grand Central 6 minutes gone, and Marble Bar scoreboard. The Doggies by 5 straight goals. So there's the boundary line thrown. It's Allen getting a handball over to the running player in Moore. He's going to curl it back round inside 50. A player being hung onto, was he? No. Kirkby, gee, he almost took the mark, but a Central's player now, and that looks like Chris Gowns, is it? It might have been James Gowns. No, it's Chris Gowns, and he just runs it through and says it'll be a rush behind. He did it as casual as you like, DB. So the margin now, 29 points on the Marble Bar scoreboard, thanks to Angus Security, John Nankerville, RPH Football.
As the Dogs bring it back in towards Thomas, who runs from defence to 50 to half-back right, kicks to the wing, grandstand side. Lee Westhoff took it, nearly threw it out. Coming through from the side, Ware lost his footing, comes the way of Burdett just onto the ground for the Bays, goes short and finds Allen. He gets a little bit of pace up and kicks back inside 50 for the Bays. Kirkley in front. Behind him, Chris Gowans fishes it down, but it's Cranston, the unlikely crummer. Under pressure, his handball wasn't good. The Gowans boys there can raffle it out. Chris to James. Under pressure, though, both those players. Curry diving in, and there'll be a bounce centre-half forward for Glenelg.
Well, that was definitely holding the man there at one stage.
Yeah.
The player was pulled off the ball, and the umpire said, no, play on, boys. Unbelievable stuff.
Ball at centre-half forward for the Bays. They trail by 5 goals. 7.5 gone third term, thanks to Grand Central. Bit of aerial ping-pong ends up with Central doing the ping-pong, but it ended up with Gibbs. He kicks towards forward 50, knocked down to Burdett, gives to Ruwalt, but sets him a task. He's tackled, dispossessed, and Central can come away with it now through Cochrane. Little chip kick out towards the run of Swatala, who gathers it in, runs along this grandstand side wing and kicks the ball up towards half forward, and it'll be an FAD to the Dogs because Swatala was put to the ground after disposal.
Didn't think there was much in it, though, to be honest with you, boys. He pushed him in the side, and it was just after he got the kick. Didn't think there was a lot in that.
There wasn't indeed, but Shell's got the recipient of the FAD. Goes inside 50. Yeah, that's got to be a free kick, yes. That was certainly a free kick, so consistent umpiring on that occasion. At least they're paying what they see. So McConnell's got it deep inside defensive 50 for the Bays. He plays on now with that pretty funny kicking style, but gee, it got good distance, and it's been taken there by I think the player was Kirkby. Yep. He gave a handball off, and it went to the player in Panozzo. He got a funny kick away, and it's gone back to that player in Panozzo. That's funny about that. It was Rogers, in fact, who gave Panozzo. Panozzo goes back to Rogers, and they've certainly relieved the pressure well just at the moment. Rogers plays on immediately. He's got McConnell, good running from defence, takes the mark. No one on the mark, but he hasn't got an option forward, so that's a bit of a problem there. And running forward is the captain of the Bays, and that's Benny Mills. He's got it on centre wing outer side. He goes inside 50. The defensive centrals, there are too many of them there and not enough Bays, and that's going to be the case. He was a player pushed in the back nose, said the umpire, and now a Centrals player has been taken too high, and that player is Mussolino, so he plays on immediately and finds Slade at half-back, and he goes to centre wing outer side and finds O'Sullivan, who marks in front of that player in Ruwalt. O'Sullivan plays on immediately and finds Thomas in the centre of the ground. He's going to go straight down the guts of Hammer Holmes over towards the southern edge, towards Grand Central. And a free kick now has been paid, Dennis Brown, to the Central District's player, and that is Chris Gowans. He ran in. That's got to be reversed. That is reversed.
No,
it's not. Gee whiz, indeed. He ran straight into McConnell. That's just not on. But anyway, there's Chris Gowans goes inside 50. The kick is good. And Daniel Shell, was he pushed? No, said the umpire. Austin, he was pushed, but it wasn't paid. Austin, gee, if there's any rain around, that will bring it. And he's gone up. There's 3 doggies onto 1. They're trying to take the mark. No one's got it. It's going to be a ball up just outside defensive 50 over there on the outer side of Hammer Holmes Oval. Grand Central says we've got 9 3/4 minutes. The Marble Bar scoreboard is 29 points to margin in favour of the home side, the Doggies.
Bit of feeling in this game, as you'd expect. 70 metres out from the goal of Central. Slade got down from the scholar tap. Quickly to the handball. Chris Gowans was good to O'Sullivan. Busting through a couple. Snaps at the goals. Bounces. Through! PDK highlight again for O'Sullivan. It was almost deja vu there, DB, as he bounced and pushed and blind turned his way through about 2 or 3 players, then snapped through his third. Central's 11th. They go to 11.874. Glenelg 6.339. Thanks to Grand Central, we've gone 10.5 in this third term.
Yeah, look, you're right. Another PDK highlight. His ability to avoid the player coming at him is just outstanding, O'Sullivan. And how he got free then, I'll never know. And perhaps had a little bit of luck with the bounce of the footy going over the top of the 2 players in the square. But you make your own luck in this game, boys.
Look, you certainly do. And that's a dangerous player. So you just feel when he gets that ball inside 50, you can just feel something's going to happen, be it a goal or some exciting passage of players back in the middle, charging towards the football. Getting there first was the big Glenelg player there in Cranston. He's lying on the bottom of the pack as the players dive in on top of him, and the umpire will come in and say, we'll bounce it down. Attacking side of centre for the Bays. They need a goal desperately. They trail by 35 points early on in this third term, the premiership quarter, and it's been a premiership display in the first half of this third quarter by the Dogs. As a free kick's been picked out. It's going the way of the Bays. Backwell gave to Cranston, back to Backwell, who goes further afield to Gibbs. He's at centre-half forward, hands off to McConnell. A right foot kick from that player up to the leading Glenelg player there in Smith, over his head at the back, working hard. Kirkby against Graham. In the end, the ball out of bounds in the right forward pocket for the Bays. 11.5 gone third term. Central by 35 points.
Yeah, look, we haven't had a lot of interchanges tonight, courtesy of Stillwell Ford at Medindi, but Rogers off and coming on as Captain Kirk for the Tigers.
So there's the boundary line thrown. G. Smith, in a personal performance, did it well. There's a push in the back to a Glenelg player who will get a free kick. There was certainly a decision there. Was he diving forward? I guess a question mark, but the player there in Andrew Hayes certainly infringed. And those fluorescent boots equals B squared, and that is Brett Backwell, number 2 for the Bays. And he'll line up, 15 metres really would be the distance or thereabouts. Dennis Brown, the angle is probably 55 degrees. He'll be kicking from the north-eastern pocket right in front of the Marble Bar scoreboard, and the Bays need this one.
Do they ever? Yeah, he must kick this. As you say, only 30 metres out. The angle just slightly acute, and he puts it straight over the goal umpire's head. So that's the third goal to Backwell, and gee whiz, his second quarter was outstanding, and there's no doubt about him. He's a wonderful little player, finds the ball a hell of a lot, and certainly deserved that free kick because he was first to the ball, got the body into his back, and the umpire was right there to see it.
Okay, Dennis Brown, the margin 29 points in favour of the Doggies, 4 goals to 1 in this quarter, the first 4 goals to that one. Can the Bays still get up from here?
Well, I think they can. Look, their side is good enough. It's just a matter of whether the Doggies can maintain the momentum that they've had in this particular quarter.
29 points the margin as James Gowans comes through with the football. Burdett wraps him up, though. Good tackle by the young man. It was Ruwalt, pardon me. Burdett in there as well. A couple of young Bay players. Burdett spent the first half on the bench. Ruwalt's been out there for the entirety of the game as Scholar wins it down, picked up by Thomas right in the centre circle here at Hammer Holmes. Kicks out towards half forward, bouncing ball, meeting it was Mules. He's tackled well. O'Sullivan there for the Dogs, but pinching it from his pocket was the man we spoke of earlier, Mark Ruwalt, who from right half back finds McConnell in the middle of the Ponderosa. He's away, chips up inside 50, out in front, but going over his head it was Mitchell. At the back, Cochran can mop up for the Dogs.
Right.
Handball's out, nice little handball, got a couple of players to choose from. Mussolino, but is picking it up and going out towards half back. Spears the pass beautifully onto the chest of O'Sullivan. He's away and running and taking players on. No surprises there. Gives to James Gowan, who goes towards the wing. Slade appeared to get one in the back. Nothing doing, says the umpire. Out of bounds, out of side wing here at Elizabeth Oval, and it's the Dogs by 35 points.
I've got to go back and check that rule about pushing in the back.
Yeah.
They must have taken him out of the game, I think.
Possibly so. There's the boundary line throw in centre wing out of side. It was Scholar tapping it to the advantage of Glenelg, but it was to the advantage of Thomas running backwards. He's handballed it to Richard Cochran. Gee, he's in more strife than the early settlers there. The turn over to the Bays. Backwell's got it. He kicks now to centre half forward. McConnell's taken the mark. Did he play on? No, said the umpire. Elijah Ware was involved. McConnell's got a leading player. Who's that? Oh, and it's Jeff Smith has taken the mark inside 50. I thought Mitchell wasn't paying enough attention there, that it was in fact directed at him. But Jeff Smith will line up. He's already kicked 2 goals this evening, both of those in the first quarter. And Jeff Smith will go back. He will kick probably, you'd think, from about 47, 48 metres. The angle is 45 degrees. He's in front of the Marble Bar scoreboard, which reads Central's 11-8, the Bays 7-3. That margin 29 points. Grand Central says we've gone almost 15 minutes, and this is an important kick in the context of the game for the Bays, Dennis Brown.
Certainly is, and as I said, just keep hanging in there. The Bays, Wilson on, and Chris Gowans off for the Doggies, courtesy of Stillwell Ford at Medindi. Smith, usually a beautiful kick, will kick from right on the 50. That's not a bad kick either. He's put it straight through the middle. That's his third. So both he and the Mouse have kicked 3 goals each from the Tigers, slowly but surely coming back at the Doggies. We've played 15 minutes into this third quarter on the Grand Central time clock. And the Doggies move along to 8 goals, 3 I think it is. That's 51, and the Doggies 11 goals, 874 on the Marble Bar scoreboard.
Yeah, good goal there, Jeff Smith. He's been a good option up forward for the Bays this year, and certainly tonight kicking those 3 goals. Glenelg now just edging that margin back to 23 points. They've got a sniff of it again, but here go the Dogs again through James Gowans, who got the handball out, but clever football by McConnell. Instead of grabbing it, he tapped it onto Hinge, was able to handball to the running Panozzo, who from right half back kicks towards half forward. Backwell out there working against Hayes. Hayes surely had hold of him, but no. Backwell toe poked in the direction of Burdett. It was Moore who gave towards Panozzo, who's run on. Now it comes towards Ruwald, who from right half forward pirouettes and kicks around to Gibbs at centre half forward, who takes the mark. James Gowans comes and closes him down, makes sure he doesn't run off with the football. He kicks now towards 50. Gibbs up, flying high. Allen got a fist on it. Curry there. Can he mop up the crumbs? He's doing a free kick for too high.
Let's go,
he will
son.
Take the free kick about 40 out from defensive goal, and Yeoman's lucky not to give away 25 there.
It looked like he was square dancing there with the old chicken Vindaloo Curry, and he comes wide and he finds a player in Mussolino. The left foot kicks generally have been good. That's no exception, but not accepting of the task with Wilson. Is it been kicked out on the field by a Glenelg player? No, it hasn't, and it'll be a boundary line throw in centre wing. Grandstand side at Elizabeth Oval, just approaching 17 minutes thanks to Grand Central Marble Bar scoreboard. 23 points to margin. The next goal is crucial to Central's or Glenelg in particular. And there's the boundary line thrown. It's been smashed forward by Thomas. This is a big ball here. Hinge getting to it in front of McCabe, but running onto it was the Central's player in James Gowans. He's wrapped up in the tackle. Glenelg have lifted in intensity. It's Phil's free O'Sullivan. Lightning hand pass to Swatala. Goes off the turf, approaching half forward, and it's run in. McKenzie's got it. He's wheeled it around. Panozzo going back with courage. He did that well with the storming shell. He's now got it right at centre half forward. He wheels that way, and the kick round the corner with a Smithfield crash clanger. If the Bays can get it away, they're off and running, and it's Sherwood giving by hand to McConnell. He's got to get an option further up the ground. He's got a leading Smith. Is the kick good enough? Yes, it is, because in fact it's found Bryce Gibbs, centre wing, out of side.
The Bays through Gibbs go towards half forward, right up in front, taking the mark there was Allen. Handballed on towards McConnell, who's done a lot of running, but his kick was an ordinary one, having to grab it on ankle. Level with Mitchell, wonderful take onto the running McConnell, who sets sail for goal for the Bays from 45. Puts through their ninth. They got a 9-3-57. McConnell kicks his first. Central 11-8-74 in the Marble Bar scoreboard. We've gone 18 minutes in the third term thanks to Grand Central. But TV, great running from McConnell and a great pick-up and handball on the one movement from Big Mitchell at half forward.
Yeah, look, the missed kick from Danny Shell, it was very costly because the turnover had the Bays running. And great work, as you said, by McConnell. He came all the way from half-back, and you can never write off a good side, and that's exactly what the Bays are. They've kicked the last 3 goals of this contest.
Okay, so the Bays, 17 points to margin, Marble Bar scoreboard. 18.5 minutes gone in the premiership quarter. Are we seeing a tussle, the old and the new? Who knows? We'll just wait and see on RPH football, thanks to Angus Securities. There's the ball up. Hayes smashing Bryce Gibbs into the turf. It will be, in fact, it's not Bryce Gibbs because he's standing just next to Andrew Hayes. It's a Glenelg player who's getting himself up off the turf now, and that player is Brady Backwell. How can we forget those fluorescent boots on the mouth? There's the ball up now. Gee, out of the air was the Central's ruckman in Scholar. He did that well, very athletic indeed. There's bodies going everywhere. Elijah Ware just runs out of the centre. He approaches centre half forward. He's got a leading shell, a rampant leading shell. It's gone to O'Sullivan, who's got 3. He handballs to a player there, and it's going to be a free kick to Glenelg because he played a throw, and the umpire was right on that. Indeed, it was lightning quick. It looked pretty good by O'Sullivan. The umpire adjudicated that it was a throw, and it will be Panozzo from the back line. Mr. Consistent, if there is an award for that at the Bays this year, a win at Panozzo. He goes wide and he's got a leading player in Austin. Gee, he's dropped the mark he should have taken. That's a bit of a Smithfield crash clanger, DB, right to the next sign of Smithfield crash repairs.
Well, instead of racing away with the ball, the Tigers now have to contest a boundary throw-in, and of course still in the Doggies half forward.
Scholar in the ruck, won it down. Slade there, hasn't stopped working. Can he pick it up, time the line? He can. Got the handball out towards Thomas, but he runs out of room, and there'll be a throw-in pretty much where it came from a moment ago. 65 or 70 metres round from the Central District goal. 17 points their lead after at one stage being up by 35 points. Cranston this time wins down in the ruck. Taken by the Central player who threw it on his boot. That was Thomas, bouncing at 50. Central player taken to ground. The umpire says nothing. Handball came out in the Panozzo direction. And now it's on the line. Rogers kicks back towards half-back. The whistle's gone. Free kick Glenelg down the field. And it looks like it will probably be taken by McConnell, who has the ball between outer-side centre wing and right half-back for the Bays. But, yeah, interesting one. The Central player went to grounds and nothing doing. Rogers, though, seeing the FAD, and McConnell with the footy.
Well, yeah, look, I don't know what the umpire's looking at there. He must have been blinded by the lights because the Central District player definitely shoved in the back.
It sounds like a Manfred Mann song, Dennis Brown. Blinded by the light. You're on RPH football with John Nankiville. Panozzo's got it for the Bays.
He does indeed. Goes towards that outer side wing. Ruwalt was up, couldn't take it. Surprisingly enough, that's Big Shell with him well away from full forward. Handball's back in the McCabe direction. He was tackled, but not before he got a handball to Slade. And now the Dogs go up towards half forward. The mark is taken by Thomas. Familiar style there of the 2004 Magarey medalist. Goes looking for buckets. McKenzie on the arc of 50. Kirk wins the football. Tackled though well. And holding the ball's the call. James Gowans has it. He throws it back towards his teammate there in Lee Westhoff, who plays on for about 65 out, spears it in, and the mark is taken by Adrian Wilson about 40 out on a 45-degree angle, and if he's accurate, he can bring the margin back to 23 points in favour of the Dogs.
Well, that's one thing his father could do, of course, was kick sausage rolls off the left boot, Wilbur Wilson, and Adrian Wilson lining up well within kicking distance. Watching the changes here, coming on for the Tigers is Matthew Graham. And is that Yeoman's coming off? Yeoman's off, and coming on Chris Gowans for Danny Shell for the Doggies, and a double still forward interchange at Medindi. So Adrian Wilson now. Very important goal, as we keep saying. They're all important goals because this is a great contest. See what Wilson can do. Goes bang off the left boot, got too close to the player on the mark, and consequently it falls short. It's still in the square. Opportunity here as Buckets McKenzie throws it back out to the head of the square. Coming through brilliantly done there was the Tiger defender. I couldn't pick up who it was, but Ty Allen knew what he had to do. Forced the minor score on the board to the Doggies.
Okay, so Panozzo bringing it back in. Grand Central says we've gone 22.5 minutes. The margin now is a very tantalising 18 points in favour of the Doggies. So a great contest here. Angus Securities, the fixed interest specialist. You're listening to RPH Football on 11:97 a.m. It's gone outside 50 with the kick. It goes backwards by Hayes. Gee, did that well indeed. The kick forward from an unknown Centrals player. Couldn't pick that player up. Gee, Austin overran the footy again. Gee, it's Chris Gowans, I think, or James Gowans, one of the two. The hand pass ends up with McKenzie. It ends up now with Thomas, who goes deep inside 50. Hinges in the van here. He's got to go back with courage and does that. Running onto it is the 3-goal man, O'Sullivan. Can he be the 4-goal man? No, he's not, because he's handballed to Lee Westhoff. He's got the 3-ball Doggies. 4 goals is now the margin on the marble bar scoreboard. Great team football, Dennis Brown, by the Doggies. 23.5 minutes gone in the Premiership quarter.
Well, I just wrote down Lee Westhoff's name as kicking the sausage roll, but again, it was that, well, will of the wisp, if you like, in Cat O'Sullivan. Somehow he got free, looked up and saw Westhoff, and of course, being the left footer, he was able to get the ball to him and run in. He didn't have to stop, he didn't have to prop, just threw it on the natural boot, and it went through for a sausage roll. And given the Tigers had kicked the last 3, a very, very important goal as we approach three-quarter time here on RPH Footy. 23 minutes approaching 24 minutes on the Grand Central time clock.
As back in the middle, it's Kirk in the ruck now versus Scholar. Probably no clear win on that occasion. Scholar goes in, does a bit of roving up against Allen, who's hard at it as expected, and they won't be getting that one out. And the umpire comes in and says, we'll bounce it down slightly on attacking side of centre for the Bays. They had got the gap back to 17 points, but a point in the goal to the Dogs sees it back out to 4 straight goals as again players dive in on the footy again. The umpire, watching from afar, comes in, crosses himself and says, take 2. Take 3, in fact, if you go from the centre bounce. But certainly tight and tough in this third term. You wouldn't expect it any other way, with a spot on the finals up for grabs. Kirk gets it. Scholar gets him, but Kirk got a little give out. Now it's a chance for Central through McCabe. He kicks up towards half forward. Bouncing football coming out there, meeting it well was James Gowans. He went to ground. Wilson spent it before he had it. Tries desperately to keep it in. Couldn't do so. Out of bounds, right half forward flank for the Dogs, right in front of the interchange gate, where we see, thanks to Stillwell Ford, an interchange taking place as we speak.
Yeah, Griffin on and Scholar off for the Doggies.
Thanks to Stillwell Ford at Medindis. There's the boundary line thrown, slightly favouring the Doggies on centre wing grandstand side. They're going to the southern end, which is where the Grand Central function room will be going berserk. One would say there's Hayes getting involved with Backwell. There's all 2s involved there. 22 Hayes, 2 Backwell, fluorescent boots as well. Going to be a ball up. There's Cranston getting in front of McKenzie, but McKenzie from behind probably got his palm to it, and he run onto it now because Bryce Gibbs was involved. Being held when he didn't have it, but it doesn't matter because it comes to Graham. Graham goes by hand to Mules. Mules goes by hand to Kirk. Gee, the kick's going to be dangerous here because Griffin got from behind in front of Ruwalt, and make of that what you will, but Griffin goes inside 50. Gee, the kick is good. Chris Gowans, the bounce favoured him. He can unload from 40. Chris Gowans, he's going to miss. Can he score? Yes, he can. Chris Gowans has kicked 1 goal 2 this evening. Marble bar scoreboard is 25 points to the margin to the Doggies. The Doggies pushed. The Bays challenged, and now the doggies are steadying in the third quarter. 25 3/4 minutes gone, thanks to Grand Central, Dennis Brown.
Yeah, look again, golden opportunity, because normally he drills those off the left boot, Chris Gowns, but away to his right, and this has allowed the Bays to bring it back in.
As they do so through Panozzo out towards half-back with the kick. It's going to be the Crummers from Glenelg on this occasion. Picking it up was Mules. He handballs out there looking for Kirk. He overran it. James Gowan's there. Ware as well. Kirk went back in, though. Got a lightning quick handball out towards Graham, and he kicks up towards half-forward. Getting in front there, spoiling, and then kicking along the ground. Doing it well was Hayes. Players diving in, though, was Griffin. Should be a push in the back, and is a push in the back. And it's going to go the way of Ty Allen right in front of us here. Grandstand side centre wing at Hammer Holmes Oval. Allen ships up towards the centre wing position, right on the line where they line up at the beginning of each quarter. Finds Austin, who goes to McConnell, who finds Ruwalt. Left half forward for the Bays. McConnell going to ground, and now having a bit of a tete-a-tete with Wilson. Not a great kick from Ruwalt as it set a real task for the leading Bay forward in Mitchell. Fisted down. Wilson was good to Ware. He comes running through half-back, has a bounce, takes on Ruwalt, gets around him, goes with a right foot kick to about 60 from goal. Hinge, though, sets himself, takes the mark and is away. Gets around his central attempt with the tackle there was Matthew Sladen. Hinge from the middle of the Ponderosa kicks up to about 60 from goal. Mitchell was there, fisted down from him. Getting the football, but being tackled was the Bay player. Didn't have a chance to get the hurried kick into the middle of the ground, but Hinge again cuts off the attack, takes the mark. Handballs out wide to Panozzo, who's well up from the last line of defence. From half 40 goes inside 50 at the back. Kirkby tried to fist it down, but it was the Dogs doing all the crumbing, and James Gowans comes away with it for centrally, chips into the left back pocket, and they have the football there.
And Thomas it is going across goal this time and finding Mussolino marks in front of Ruwalt in the opposite forward back pocket, I beg your pardon. Oh, gee, the kick is a Smithfield crash clanger by Mussolino, and the mark has been taken there by a Glenelg player. We'll pick him up in just a moment, and that player there is Jeff Smith. He's going to have to kick from 50. The angle is acute. It will be a team lifting, a ball terror of a moment if he actually slots this goal, but he's going to unload Jeff Smith. Is he going to put it to the top of the square? Yes, he is. He needs a mark in the square. It was Kirk flying from behind, but he's going to be a rush behind to the Bays. Marble Bar scoreboard at the moment. The Bays are 9-4-58. The Doggies are 12-10-82. Grand Central says we've gone 28 minutes. What are your assessment of this quarter, DB?
Well, I tell you what, the Tigers are coming back, no doubt about that, but that was a wonderful bit of work by Jeff Smith to read that kick off the boot of Marcelino. I thought he should have gone back and had a pot shot at goal. He did the team thing and put it to the head of the square, and of course the Doggies were able to take it and then force it through for the minor score. Well,
Central appeared to be rebounding well from half back, but the kick was wayward out of bounds on the full, outer side wing. It's going to be taken there on that outer side for the Bays. The handball comes out in the direction of Hinge, who's been busy in the last few minutes. Kicks up towards half forward. Flying up in the middle of two Central players was Kirkby. Couldn't take it. Griffin, the unlikely crummer, comes to grief, but he managed to get a handball out in the Graham direction. McCabe now works it cleverly to the run there of O'Sullivan. He comes streaming through the middle of Hammer Holmes Oval. Almost runs himself into some trouble, but as always, seems to get the possession out the last minute to Ware. And it's a three-quarter time siren sounds. Ware's kick to half forward, doing nothing. And that is three-quarter time here at Hammer Holmes in a most enthralling game at Central. 12-10-82, leading Glenelg 9-4-58. That third term went about...
Big quarter for them in season 2006, DB.
Oh, it's a huge quarter as the umpire holds the ball aloft. You're on RPH footy with Paul Blandis.
Okay, so here it is, O'Sullivan opposed to Allen. It's Cranston opposed to Scholar, and there's the tap down there. A Glenelg player wrapping up a Central's player in the tackle. That was Mitchell, and a Central's player will get off the carpet now. I can't pick up who that is just at the moment, but I will tell you as soon as I know. And... there he is there, and it looks like, of course, one of the Gowans boys. That's Chris Gowans. So there's the ball up against Scholar. He got good palm to that indeed. Graham running onto it. Player Glenelg Allen couldn't get to it, but Benny Moore did. He kicked it now, aiming towards centre half forward. Smith G was in front, but he got a little push, did he? No. There's Hayes, hand passing it wide to Cochrane. He's approaching centre wing out of side. Cochrane, he's got a leading player in Slade coming from behind. Panozzo did well. Chris Gowans runs onto it. Gee, these boys have got class. Gowans, the Chris variety, wrapped up in the tackle, but he got a kick away, and he did it beautifully. Running onto it now is Big McKenzie. McKenzie goes wide to Slade. Smithfield crash, clanger of a handball, and ended up going out just to the right of the Marble Bar scoreboard. 82-58 in favour of Central's. Grand Central says we've gone 60 seconds of the final term at the Ponderosa, DB.
Certainly the case, and the Tigers will want to kick the first sausage roll of the final quarter, boys.
as Kirk up high in the ruck, hits it back towards the outer side wing, but leading in the race. O'Sullivan for the Dogs picks it up. Surprise, surprise, he tries to take on his man, got a handball away. Chris Gowan's handball was smothered, going in hard. Mules was met very solidly by Buckets McKenzie. Fired out a handball, missed his central teammate and was picked up by John Hinge, who, as DB said at half-time, has been running loose for most of this second half. He has his third bounce as he evades a player in the middle of the Ponderosa, tackled, got a handball out to Smith. The big man in trouble, gets a handball in the Gibbs direction, but they're under pressure from all sides from the Central District side of the Bays, and in the end it's picked up by Cochrane, who finds Thomas, who's another man who's played well for the Dogs. He handballs off to Swatala, who kicks inside 50, and Shell takes the mark on 50 for the Dogs. Be interesting to see if he goes back and backs himself with a shot for goal from here, Daniel Shell. It appears that he is doing so, Dennis Brown.
Well, once again, the forward entry by the Bays let them down, boys, and it's the only reason Danny Shell is having a pot shot for goal, and it's an enormous kick off the boot, but it's away to the right, I think. No, still in play in actual fact, and in that right full forward pocket.
It is indeed. The handball came out from Lee Westhoff, found a teammate there, got it back in the 1-2. He's kicked one tonight already, Lee Westhoff. He sets sail with the left foot. Not bad by Lee Westhoff. PDK highlight. Perfect start for the central side there. 13-10-88. Glenelg 9-4-58. We've gone 2.5 thanks to Grand Central. And he's kicked a couple of crucial goals tonight. Dennis, Lee Westhoff, firstly in the third when Glenelg was starting to fight back, and then now at the beginning of this fourth term.
Yeah, look, that was just almost well, a two-goal turnaround, if you like. The Bays had all the run with Johnny Hinge running through the centre. I think he just took a couple of steps too many, put himself under pressure, and the Bays lost the footy, and you just can't afford to turn the ball over to a side like the Doggies.
Well, they're going to be a great side to Glenelg if they can come back from here. 5 goals to margin, Marble Bar scoreboard. The ball up in the centre. It was Scholar getting a handball to it. Gee, Hinge has played a good second half. Ran onto it there. Backwell had his jar of chutney ripped off. He gets the handball now to McConnell. He's right in the centre of the Ponderosa, i.e. the H8 squared oval. And there goes Cochrane. It is inside 50, inside Glenelg. He goes backwards to Quinn and Graham. That's the wrong way, Richie. But anyway, it's now the Vindaloo running onto it. He's wrapped up in the tackle by a Glenelg player in Ruwalt. And it will be a ball up inside the forward pocket for the Bays at the southern end. Of course, Grand Central not far away from that particular part of the ground. It's Cranston running from behind, and Smith's got it. Can he get away from Cochrane? He does. He gives it to Ruwalt by hand. There's doggies everywhere. It's like a kennel, as DB would say. And there's going to be another ball up slightly further out from the Bays goal. And that, of course, is in the southeastern pocket of the Ponderosa. Grand Central time clock says we've gone almost 4 minutes. The margin is 5 goals in favour of the doggies. There's the ball up again, John.
Scholar won it down, but only as far as the Bays. They get a hurried kick there from Smith back towards the hot spot. Up high, Cochrane couldn't take it. Doing well, though, was Doldig. First touch for the game, and the big man has put through a goal. He gets his first, keeps the Bays alive. Nimble stuff there on that occasion from big Matthew Doldig. It wasn't his first touch for the game, I know, but it was sort of his first shot at goal for the game. Certainly, he puts through the Bays' 10th, his first. They're 10-4-64. Central's 13-10-88 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. 4.5 gone in this final term. They're still in it, DB.
Certainly are. Look, isn't footy an amazing game? The fortunes can change so quickly. Cochrane played a terrific game across half-back. He dropped a mark going into the when the Bays were going forward, and again on that occasion to allow the Bays. Admittedly, that second one was a lot harder because he was running the same way as the footy.
So there's the ball up in the centre. The quick kick away's gone to centre half forward for the Dogs. Getting involved was Hinge. He did that well. Number 19 for the Bays. Famous number indeed. The hand pass ends up with Panozzo. He's approaching centre wing grandstand side. The kick is a beauty. A PDK highlight is marked by that player in Jeff Smith. He will now go to the forward 50. The leading Kirkby should get there on the full kick. Backing back with courage was the chicken Vindaloo in Curry. He's done well. Wrapped up in the tackle is Marcelino. Is he gone? No, says the umpire. In fact, we should give a special hello to the umpires tonight. Corey Bowen, the Ron Philp, Richard Williams, of course, officiating in the centre of the ground. RPH football, thanks to Angus Securities. There's the ball up, getting a double palm down with Scholar. Running onto it was Ruwald. He kicks the ball deep inside 50. Getting in front, was doing it well, was Kirkby. Was he held? No, says the umpire. Cochrane runs onto it now, almost ran out of bounds, but didn't. That was the important thing. Rebounded from 50 with the kick. It couldn't be marked by Smith. Siminola, who has been quiet, but certainly hasn't been overwhelmed. Gibbs getting him around the jar of chutney, one would have thought, but the umpire will come back to where it all started, John.
It certainly will. Bouncing about 60 metres out from the Bay goal. They'd love another one. Chris Gowans doesn't want to see that happen. He came through. Now, sure, that's a free kick to Gowans. I was saying he came through taken high. The umpire didn't think so. Either way, Scholar got it to Swatala, and his kick under pressure has gone out of bounds on the full, and the Bays have the free right in front of us.
Well, I want to know what the umpire was looking at. How he didn't see that player's head and then he pulled off. I don't know, mate. It just got me bewildered sometimes.
As Hinge goes to Mitchell, the big fella played on, then fell over. Managed to get a handball out in the direction there of Sherwood. It looked like he kicks up inside 50. Sculler, good mark. PDK highlight by the big man. And he chips out towards the right back pocket, and he finds Slade. Kicks out towards half-back, measured it beautifully. James Gowans has got it. He's away and running now for the Dogs. Outer side wing here at the Ponderosa. They lead by 4 goals. Another goal would make it tough for the Bays, but they're not done yet. It's Thomas for the Dogs. Kicks towards the forward 50, and McKenzie, who's played so well tonight, using the big body on that occasion against Kirk, takes the mark. He's 60 from goal. I don't like his chances at kicking the goal, though. At the moment, he seems to be thinking perhaps he will have a swing at it. He certainly is a good kick, but interesting to see whether he can do it accuracy-wise. No, he's going short towards about 35 from goal. Westhoff Lee was up. Couldn't take it. Swatala crumbed beautifully. Handballed out in front of McCabe. He snaps at the goal from 30 metres out and puts it through. Does Luke McCabe. And the setting goal for Central. They go to 14 goals, 10-94. Glenelg there at 10-4-64. Back out to a 5-goal margin. That's on the Marble Bar scoreboard. 7.5 gone thanks to Grand Central in this 4th term. And you feel the Dogs are close to being home, DB, but I wouldn't say they're there just yet.
Not quite yet, Johnny. The Bays will come back again, and as we've seen them do a couple of times in this game over there in Sydney Telstra Dome. Sydney 9-8-62, the Lions 5-3-33. Thanks to Stillwell Ford at Medindi.
Okay, so there's the ball up in the centre. It's sort of like a rugby scrum at the moment. A Glenelg player being tackled along with the football. It'll be a secondary ball up, if you like to use that term. And 8 minutes gone, thanks to Grand Central on RPH football. Scholar and Cranston involved. Just getting it picked up there was Graham trying to get a half a handball on it, and it was McConnell. Did he get taken high? No. Did someone get pushed from Central's? Possibly, but it doesn't matter anyway. Cranston's got it. He tries to handball it away, but Ware's got it centre wing out of side. Off he goes, does the noodle. The noodle goes forward. There's McKenzie getting to it first, but it was Kirk doing it better. Johnny Hinge did it well. He handballs to Panozzo, who breaks away from centre half back for the Tigers and comes to centre wing grandstand side. McConnell, they need to score the next goal and do it quickly. The base, the kick by McConnell, the leading Kirby, was he pushed? No, great work indeed by the Central's defender. Mussolino it is. He kicks it to centre wing. Was it FAD? Yes, it was against Kirkby. Mussolino did it beautifully. The first effort, the second effort with the kick was good. Kirkby came in for some attention, and it will be Swatala, centre wing, grandstand side for the Doggies to put them into attack. And off he goes now. Standing the mark is Ben Moore. So Swatala, number 43, goes approaching 50. And there's a contest there, nothing doing. Panozzo handballs backwards to Mules. Luckily, he's got some room. The running player is Sherwood. He ignores that option. He goes inboard to Mitchell. The option was terrible. It ends up with Allen, though. It comes off a right. The running Mules gets it centre wing grandstand side. Comes there looking for Ruwalt. Running back, not looking at it, was Slade. Mark or free kick wouldn't have mattered. And Ruwalt's got it. The mouse standing there not running is a bad sign for the base. Goes to centre half forward, does Ruwalt. The kick is Scheisenhausen. It ends up with Cochrane. Smithfield Crash playing a good evening. The Napoli brothers. McCabe's got it centre wing out of sight. A loose player. Loose as Mother Goose, running inside 50 is O'Sullivan. He's already got 3. He's just got to get around his opponent in Hinge. He can whiz it around, and he's going to get it to the top of the square. The mark should be taken by Kirk. No! McKenzie! Oh, the Doggies are home now. 15-10-100. That's the century. The Bays 10-4-64. Good night, Nurse Dennis Brown.
No doubt about that. Yeah, great rebound from the half-back flank. Cochrane's made amends for those couple of marks that he dropped. And I'll tell you something, boys. Roy Laird and his wife Connie have produced a baby this year about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Another great move that he's done has put the big man to centre-half forward in buckets, McKenzie.
Indeed.
He's been wonderful, hasn't he, Justin McKenzie, just providing that contest, kicking 3 goals himself, and been close to best of field just for the impact he's had on the game tonight. As the ball back in the middle, Central will play finals in 2006 for the Bays. Well, we wait and see. The way things are heading, they might find themselves playing 5 weeks of finals with round 23 being a mini one against the Panthers. One down in the middle by Cranston. Aerial ping-pong from the Dogs. McCabe. The bounce didn't sit well for Central. Coming away with it, the Bays. Getting the handball out in the direction there was Allen. The player there was Backwell, went to ground. Now the handball fired out back in that Allen direction from Graham. He couldn't handle it. Ruwalt taken to ground. He's about 60 out from the Dogs' goal. The Bays' goal, should I say. And the umpire comes in and says, we'll throw it up. Or it could have a bounce. As I said, 60 metres out from the Glenelg goal. They trail by 6 goals. Shepherding in the ruck going the way of...
Well, the umpire didn't know, did he?
Yeah.
The umpire didn't know.
Well, originally he signalled result was going to Central's way, but it is going to come back to Big Jeff Smith at right half forward. Shepherd out of the ruck contest, kicks inside 50, up Cochrane, spoiled it well, heavily met on the ground by Ruwalt, got the handball out in the direction of Swatala, traps it on the second go, run almost corralled into the back pocket, but he got a handball to McCabe, who goes out wide. He's got 2 to choose from, and in the end he finds a teammate out there in Thomas. He kicks towards defence 50 where the mark's taken by Sibanala. Handballs over the top. Central have players, it seems, everywhere as Slade tips to the wing and finds Scholar, and he can set something up for the Dogs as he kicks towards half forward, and Elijah Ware takes the mark.
So the Noodle, he's got Sherwood, the big Forrest, standing the mark. The Noodle has got a further option, and that is Shell. Gee, he's moved around beautifully, Daniel Shell, not just leading from full forward, but coming out from that 50-metre arc. He's going to go deep inside 50 to the northern end for the Doggies. There's 6 goals in front of the Marble Bar scoreboard. A mark's been taken just outside the goal square. No, it's going to be O'Sullivan who's taken the mark. And Chatty O'Sullivan, gee, Dennis Brown's giving the votes for PDK Player of the Year. One would have thought, DB, that this guy could be very well involved.
Oh, mate, he's had a big night, hasn't he? His ability around the goals is just amazing, and this will give him Roger Moore if he can drill this. But as he missed it today, he's hit the post. So a golden opportunity, and they have missed some easy shots tonight, the Doggies, and would be further in front but for that. But, gee whiz, 15-11-101. And the Tigers back on 10-4-64.
As Panozzo brings the ball back into play, kicked to himself, then went to defence of 50, where he finds Sherwood a bit unsure what to do with it. The veteran, he goes out towards half-back with a long kick, but up taking a good mark with Shell. Up against Austin, he plays on now, comes into the middle of Elizabeth Oval, where Swatala will take the mark. Chip forward to centre half forward. Loose men everywhere for the Dogs. Thomas takes it left half forward, kicks up inside 50. Not the greatest of kicks, but streaming out is this newfound forward option for Central, Lee Westhoff. He's kicked a couple tonight, and he can go back now from about 25, 30 metres out, pretty much straight in front, kick his third, Central's 16th, and advance the margin on to 43 points.
Yeah, look, you're right, Johnny. Been very good tonight, Lee Westhoff, and he's already booted 2. He's lining up for a bumblebee here. Let's see what he can do. The left footer goes forward. Beautiful kicking action, but he's hooked it as well. And another opportunity missed by the Doggies. They go to 15-12-102. The Tigers 10-4-64 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. Approaching 14 minutes on the Grand Central time clock in this, the final quarter.
Okay, so Panozzo it is from the northern goal square. Kicks to himself now. And plays on, has a bounce, gets a Shepherd from Sherwood, the running Westhoff. Gee, it didn't do much because approaching the 50. Oh, Lee Westhoff, that's holding the ball, is it? The umpire says yes. That is great forward line, inside 50 pressure from Lee Westhoff. And he's probably too far out to score, one would think. He's going to go back. Now, he had that shot, the last shot for goal with his right boot. He now goes with the left boot. Oh, flying from behind. Shirley couldn't take the mark. And it's right at the top of the goal square for Centrals. The umpire will come in and bounce it. And, Davey, that's a little bit confusing. Oh, he like Brian Cunningham of many years ago.
Exactly right, mate. But Big Danny Shell had a big chance there, didn't he? But couldn't hang on to the sausage.
As bounced down top of the goal square for Central, reading it beautifully off the pack. On that occasion was Matthew Slade. He bangs through the goal for Central, his second of the night, and the procession just continues. They're out to a 44-point lead. Now the Dogs, as we check the Marble Bar scoreboard at Central, 16-12-108, leading Glenelg 10-4-64. 15 minutes gone thanks to the Grand Central time clock.
Yeah, look, we've just had an interchange courtesy of Stillwell Ford Medindi. Coming on Yeomans, and I think it was Ty Allen going off for the Tigers. Not 100% sure of that, boys, though. And of course, we had a score earlier over there, Telstra Dome, 9-8-62, Sydney Lions 5-3-33, and the MCG It's Richmond 14-8-92. The Bombers 12-11-83. Thanks to black and white trucks and removals.
As Yeomans kicks towards centre half forward, Smith there knocks it towards 50, knocking Mussolino over in the process, but no free kick given. There's been a few times the whistle's been silent tonight. As Wilson goes to Slade, and he was taken over the line, ball and all, and unfairly by Ruwalt. The free kick is paid. He goes back into the left back pocket and finds Chris Gowans. The Dogs just chipping it around now. They know they're home. Graham with the football. 20 metres from defensive goal. His kick was almost smothered. Millimetres in it, but it ended up going out to the fence, particularly where Curry takes the mark, kicks to the outer side wing. Graham for the Tigers got a hand on it. Shell came in and pitched it and did well. Handballs over to Elijah Ware. He can set something up from here. Kicks to 50, coming from behind Lee Westhoff. Up in front, though, taking a good defensive mark for the Bays was one Rory Kirkby, the only Rory, I believe, Paul Glenelg, playing in the SANFL this season.
R-U-O-R-Y, Rory Kirkby. There's the kick from Kirkby. It ended up with the player in Graham. It's now with Mitchell, centre wing, outer side. He comes into the centre and finds more. There's been a few little fireworks there between Slade and Ruwalt, and now it's Hayes and also Backwell having a little bit of a to-do there. See, the kick by Moore is very good indeed, and coming out and marking that is Cranston, just out from centre half forward for the Bays. It's a little bit too late now anyway for the Bays. Cranston goes inside forward 50. Running there is Smith. Can he take a good mark? Yes, he does. Play on called the umpire. In fact, it was Rogers. What a personal effort. He goes with a little Gaelic football kick because he couldn't kick it far enough. And it's Sibinaler who hand passes to Swatala, who rebounds from defensive 50 and finds that player in Chris Gowans. He takes the mark and plays on immediately. He's got a loose player in Still. He flies from behind Still. He couldn't take the mark. The Forest was up to the task, and he handballs down. Got Graham centre wing outer side. Graham goes backwards in order to go forwards. And the player there is Mules. He goes forward now. Yeomans is involved here. Also Slade, terrible bounce indeed. Yeomans got it beautifully. He now kicks it inside forward 50. The Doggies, it's the Vindaloo comes out. He smashes it forward. It's Mussolino there, is it? No, it was Swatala. He gets the kick away. Rebounding from 50 is Jonathan Griffin.
And the big man, nimble like you wouldn't believe, kicks towards half forward, chopped off though by another big man, Jeff Smith, who meets it strongly and kicks strongly to the forward 50 arc. Getting out in front, Rogers took that mark very nicely. Started the year as a forward option. Kicked 5 against Central in round 3. His kick on that occasion wasn't great. Graham got in there, fisted it down. Coming back in for seconds was Rogers. This time he goes with the handball towards Ruwalt. Takes on, gets around Wilson. Then with the man about to smother, tried to square it up. Wasn't a bad idea, except for the fact that it landed in the arms of Chris Gowans. He handballs to Swatala, who kicks towards the outer side wing and finds Luke McCabe. He kicks up towards half forward, out in front, taking a good mark. Shell back to McCabe, who's run on. Dainty little chip kick inside 50 and chipping in there. Jeff Smith taking the mark and setting things down for the Bays. 18 gone in the final term. It's Central by 44 points here at the Hammer Holmes Oval. The Bays on defensive 50. It was Moore to Panozzo, now back to Moore, who from right half back kicks up to the pack. Griffin in front, couldn't take it, but the Bays crumbing nicely. They pick it up through a very unlikely crummer in Cranston. His kick was good. Big goal to kick one in this fourth quarter, take the mark. Loose as Mother Goose indeed in the goal square. It's Austin takes the mark, charges through, and he puts through the Bays' 11th goal. They go to 11-4-70. Central 16-12, 108 on the Marble Bar scoreboard. We've gone 18 and a half in this final term. It's too late, certainly, but Glenelg not letting this game become a blowout.
Exactly right, and perseverance there by the Tigers. But I tell you what, there was some Smithfield clangers by both sides. In a passage of about 10 minutes of football, I don't think I've seen so many Smithfield clangers. The Smithfield boys will be opening up a new shop out there at Smithfield, I think.
They will be indeed, and we also say good evening to Daryl O'Brien, who of course is one of the head honchos at PDK Financial Accountants. They want to be your business coach. Great sponsors of RPH football. There's the ball up. Back in the centre, it was James Gowans handballing off to the running player in Noodles, where he goes inside 50. Everyone seemed to stop and run the other way, and running onto it will be Jeff Smith in the back pocket. What can he do now? He went to ground. Was that a great option? Well, probably not, because it's going to end up with Graham, so probably maybe it was a good option. But anyway, it comes now to Yeomans, who marks. As he does that, he's on defensive 50. He plays on immediately. Benny Mules, he kicks like a donkey. No, he doesn't. He kicks like a Mules. Anyway, there's Yeomans. He goes wider still, and it's the player there in Matthew Graham, I beg your pardon. The left foot boot finds, left foot kick, I beg your pardon, on the left foot boot finds Yeomans. Yeomans goes by hand to Mules. He balked this way and that, and then it comes to the player there in Ruwald, it is, who's going towards centre-half forward. The leading Doldig, it's a little bit too late, Matthew. United's been terrible. He couldn't take the mark. He's been tackled there. Is it holding the ball? No, it's not. Graham, what a fantastic tackle. A PDK highlight. Mussolino runs onto it, centre wing, grandstand side. The kick into Westhoff of the Alvarati. Looses a Mother Goose in the other end of the ground. This time is the player, O'Sullivan. Can he line up for number 4? Yes, he can! O'Sullivan, magnificent football by the Doggies. Rebounding from the half-back line, Dennis Brown. The Marble Bar scoreboard is 46 points for the Dogs.
Well, exactly right. You've summed it up beautifully. The rebound, absolutely outstanding. And I think that goal to O'Sullivan just might have clinched him BOG. He's been an outstanding player this afternoon, or even this evening as well. So he's had a big day, hasn't he? And I'll tell you what, you've just got to love the way he plays, O'Sullivan. He's not frightened to be at the bottom of the pack, and his skill level is very good to help this Doggy side march towards another premiership.
Margin back to 44 points. It's a good point, DB. Marching towards the premiership, you never know. I sort of felt they were a bit below the Eagles and North, but they've played wonderfully tonight as the crowd getting excited about a interchange.
Yeah, Backwell off for the Tigers, and coming on for them is Marcus Burdett, and that's courtesy of Sewell Ford at Medindi.
Certainly is, as the Dogs go forward through Swatala. His kick goes to 50, but it didn't find its target in Westhoff. The Bays McConnell trapped it and then ran out of room underneath the Marble Bar scoreboard, where there'll be a throw in 55 round from the central goal there. 17-12, 1-14. Glenelg 11-4, 70, 21 and a half gone thanks to Grand Central. Ball back into play. McKenzie in the ruck, couldn't take it. Gibbs at the back, taken to ground, got a little handball out only as far as the central player, who was dispossessed by Smith. He comes away with it. Kicks up towards the outer side wing, fisted down there by Griffin, who goes in and gets the football on the second opportunity, throws on the boot, the big man, back to about 60 from goal, coming through McKenzie, couldn't take the mark, but like a nimble rover, does beautifully at ankle level, though his handball wasn't great, opens the door for the Bay player who was wrapped up in the tackle. Slade wants holding the ball. The umpire says, not going to happen, Matthew. There'll be about 65 out from Central's goal in that right forward pocket area. They lead by 44 points.
And the Marble Bar scoreboard under lights here at Hammer Holmes Oval. There's the ball up. It was Thomas, I think, getting it down to that player Slade, who gets the quick kick inside forward 50. The only Rory in SNFL football this year, courtesy of John Nankable. Not the only exclusive tonight. The other one is Adam Fisher, of course, being signed. It was unleashed on RPH footy thanks to the CEO of Glenelg Football Club, Darren Chandler. Adam Fisher signed for another 3 years. Marble Bar scoreboard 44 points. Grand Central time clock 22 and 3/4 minutes gone of the last term. There's the boundary line throw. It ends up with O'Sullivan, BOG. You heard Dennis Brown say before, DOB. It ends up at centre half forward with Andrew Hayes. And is he too far out to score from there, DB?
Well, I don't think so. He is a very strong kicker of the footy, but we'll see what he can do. He's going to certainly, he thinks he can kick it. We'll just see what he's going to kick from about 53. Got under it, though. The ball is going on and on. No, I tell you what, he's nearly drilled it. No, it's been marked, I think, has it? Or
it has.
No, it's been marked in the last line of defence, boys.
Smith right on the line, brings it to Burdett. He's in the left-back pocket. 44 points the margin to Central. Deserved winners tonight. Could have been even bigger if they'd been more accurate. As McConnell now in the right-back pocket.
Yeah.
Took on an opponent, had a bounce, and managed to get it back. Very lucky, though. His kick set a task there for Burdett, but he was up to it. He's away and running very heavily. Padded young Burdett. Kicks up towards right half forward, and taking the mark out in front was Rogers. Handballs on to Mitchell now. He can hoof it long, and he does. Kicks to about 35 out from goal where the pack sets themselves. Doldig was up, went into his hands and hit the ground where Mussolino was crumbing for Central. He kicks the ball out towards right half back. Yeoman's there. Ware picks it up first, though, for the Central side. Spin rounds onto his right boot and finds Thomas Grounds, outer side centre wing. Goes to Big Griffin. Handled that well, the big man. Then goes back in the 1-2 to Thomas, who I think was about to take a breather.
No.
His kick on that occasion is a good one. It found Chris Gowans on his own at 50. He runs fair way. Kicks from 35 and kicks truly for his second. So the Dogs go to 18-12, 1-20. 50 points ahead of the Bays on the Marble Bar scoreboard, 11-4-70. We've gone 24 and a half thanks to Grand Central, and we talk about the Gowans boys coming into the game in patches, but when they do come into it, DB, they're always dangerous.
They certainly are, but gee whiz, back here, a Bay player, just can't remember who it was that had a golden opportunity to take the mark. The ball spilled out of his hand straight down
Dolding
to Dolding, was it?
Yep.
Straight down to the doggy defenders, and that was it.
If there was a night sponsored by Crapola, it would be Matthew Dolding would be winning that award tonight because he's had an absolute shocker. The doggies coming up north back here next Saturday night, the doggies, and then West Adelaide leading into the finals. They've qualified and they'll have a share of third spot tonight. Not a share, they'll in fact be... well, they will have a share because they're on the same number of wins as Port Adelaide. Only percentage will separate them. The Bays will slot down to 5th, as it turns out. Crunch time for the Glenelg Football Club in 06, and they've been spanked in this last half by a very good central side. There's the ball up in the centre. It was the secondary ball up, if you like, and McConnell running onto it has been taken too high. The umpire officiating there. Grand Central time clock says we've gone 25-25 as I looked at it. Marble Bar scoreboard 50 points, so it really has been a blowout. McConnell goes backwards and finds Mitchell, who's been pretty quiet. He unloads with a screw punt. That's not going to achieve anything right now. Hinge, been a good player, and he's wrapped up in the tackle. Did he have a prior opportunity? No, says the umpire. And DB, Jeff Smith, would he be the best player on the ground for the Bay?
Certainly had a lot of the footy, hasn't he? I thought the Mouse was a very good player, and of course he's had to leave the ground. But this guy here, Hinges, has certainly had a lot of possession, and he copped one around the chutney on that occasion. Certainly in high up in the Bay, best is Big Jeff Smith.
Yeah, so Hinge, the lid of the jar of chutney almost taken off, and he's there on centre wing grandstand side. Johnny Hinge, number 19, famous number, of course. And in fact, the number 19 has won a McGarry medal at the Bay Football Club, Freddie Phillips. First full forward to have won one from memory. He's got Graham outside forward 50. He goes to Mitchell. Kick probably just travelled 15. Mitchell, number 22, socks her up. He's looking a picture. He's looking in pretty good form, David Mitchell. Why don't you unleash with a screw punt? Because it doesn't matter. You're going to lose anyway. Unleash, David. Unleash the fury. He does it now, and he goes deep inside forward 50. Not with the screw punt as I wanted, but with a drop punt. And it ends up with Graham. Gee, the hand pass was good. Taken beautifully by Mackenzie, who got, why don't you take your head with you? There it goes to O'Sullivan, who's been a good player. It will end up with John Hinge, centre wing, out of side. And he'll pick up the footy, will he? Or is it going to go out? No, it won't now. Johnny Hinge picks it up. Hands up in the middle is Rory, the only Rory in the SRNFL we've heard exclusively on RPH footy, and it comes into the centre, and Rogers has taken the mark. Certainly tried hard, Aaron Rogers. He was down back on Mackenzie. He's now kicking it forward, inside forward 50. It was a player being held. No, said the umpire. Running onto it will be Mussolino. The left foot kick there, rebounding from 50, finds Chris Gowan at right half back for the Doggies. 50 points the margin, Marble Bar scoreboard. And they're pretty well going to just go pretty quiet here. They don't want to cop any more injuries. They don't really need any more physical contest. And Mussolino takes it, will kick inside. Sorry, he's already inside defensive 50, kicks to Graham, who's still inside defensive 50, and goes to the player there in the Vindaloo, and that's Curry, who they're crossing play now, just racking up stats, and getting it on the other half-back flank is Luke McCabe. You're on RPH Football with John Nankerville.
As Paul Thomas takes the mark from the McCabe kick, out of side wing, loose men everywhere again, taking the grab on this occasion, O'Sullivan. Couldn't shoot for his 6th goal because the siren beat him, and after 27.5 minutes in this final term, it's all over here at the Ponderosa. The Dogs running out winners, 50 points, 18-12, 120. Glenelg 11-4, 70. 50 points the final margin, thanks to the Marble Bar scoreboard. Central will play finals football in 2006, along with the Port Adelaide Magpies. Where they finish 3rd or 4th is still to be decided. Glenelg will have the bye, then perhaps a mini-final against South in the final round to see if they'll play in the finals. Of course, South have West in a real danger game next week, but tonight's result, a great one for Central. Last Saturday night game of the year, and last Saturday night from obviously here at Hammer Homes, a wonderful win, 50 points they win by, and great performances by most of the players in the Central team, their PV, but I guess O'Sullivan, Mackenzie really stood out. It was probably quite fitting O'Sullivan finished with the ball in his hands, even if he couldn't slot through goal number. Would it have been 5 or 6?
It would have been number 5, yeah. And you're right, John, it's the second to last game here at Hammer Homes over for the year. Of course, next Saturday night will be Central's taking on North. Now, the ladder, as it stands at the moment, well, I know that the Eagles and North are on top of the ladder. They are equal. I don't know what the percentage is, whether North have gone above the Eagles, but they are certainly level on number of games played and 14 wins and 4 losses. The Doggies are 3rd, Port Adelaide 4th, the Bays are 5th, and South Adelaide losing today are 6th. Norwood, after being flogged by West Adelaide, are 7th. Sturt, after being flogged by Port, are 2nd last, and West Adelaide, after flogging Norwood, are last. Go figure that. And RPH Football brought to you by Angus Security. The goal scorers this evening, thank you to Dennis Brown.
Yes, for the Doggies, 4 to Sullivan, 3 to Mackenzie, 2 goals each to Chris Gowns, Slade, Shell and Lee Westhoff, and singles to Jimmy Gowns, Justin Westhoff and McCabe. And for the Tigers, 3 each to Smith and Backwell, and singles to Ruwalt, Yeomans, McConnell, Dolbig and Austin.
Okay, so they're the goal kickers tonight. And Jim Friend, your assessment of the way things unfolded here at Hammer Holmes Oval?
Yeah, look, both sides certainly came out with one thing in mind, and that was to hit.